Zach, this is wrong. It's a Tuesday night in Mount Vernon.
You idiot.
The time zone is different.
It's still Tuesday in Chicago for another 2 hours.
Not in my
An
flat
hour.
Earth.
Am I good?
You're good. You're great. Ain't nobody better than the kid.
Pew, 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 pew.
Let's see. Is
One of
this
these
gonna-
days, we're going to get new mics and new cables.
Yeah, it
and
works. It works pretty well.
We're going to just be golden.
Yeah, gold threaded, baby. Okay, it's about baseball.
Yeah.
What?
It's about
I
baseball.
Figured.
A Thursday night in Chicago.
A Thursday night in Chicago. Welcome to this, whatever this will be. Boyos, Ryan, Taylor, and I'm
Hi.
Zach. I don't, but I feel like we need an intro because what if something happens, and someone likes this, so that's who we are. This episode's called A Thursday Night in Chicago. All right, it's a slideshow about
For a show with
something-
no name.
For a show with no name. It's about something that is near and dear to my heart. And as we go around the table, I feel like you guys will have a little bit of appreciation for this thing, too. How do we feel?
Stickball?
Are you talking about the overall subject of baseball?
The American hand egg? No, wait. That's the
football.
other one.
Wow.
Yeah, no. Yes. How do we feel about baseball? Actually, before we get into baseball,
I mean, we're at perfect graduating levels. Like,
Yeah.
It's your favorite
we've
sport.
all played baseball as a kid.
Barely.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll
I,
start there.
I tapped out in T-ball.
Do we all enjoy baseball? Because I'm going to say, off and on.
All right.
I was say like that's the graduating levels. Like Zach's favorite sport is baseball.
Yes.
Yeah. Hands down.
I like baseball, but it's like 2 or 3 on my list of favorite sports.
Out of the 4, out of the big 4.
Out of the big 4, yeah, I'd probably go football. Yeah,
Don't
it's
put
probably, It's
basketball.
probably 2.
It's probably 2. Okay.
I mean, I know it pains you, boyos, but
Yeah.
I'm not much of a sports guy. If I'm around
true.
other
Well, yeah,
if
yeah,
I'm
sure.
around other
Yeah.
sports people, I get into it. Like I'm not just tuning it out. But if it's there, baseball, however, much like football for me, is hella fucking good on radio.
Oh, yeah.
Baseball more so than watching baseball.
Baseball was built
If-
on radio, baby.
If I had the
It still is being built
if
on
I
radio.
loved baseball, I would listen to baseball while doing other things, and it's like I'd catch important
drinking,
games.
yeah. Well, Ryan, what if I were to tell you that this Thursday night in Chicago isn't necessarily about the game of baseball, but about someone's climb up the mountain?
Oh,
How would that make you feel?
like are we talking somebody like getting into some sort of Hall of Fame, like prestige wise, or
In my
climbing up a
heart.
mountain are we talking about somebody who's like, man, their kid just died, they got into a divorce,
Maybe yes, maybe
and
no.
and baseball is that one thing where I can have a good game, even though I'm shortstop for like the Orioles in their worst year ever. Like,
Let's get into it, okay?
okay,
I mean, Chicago brings up a lot of things. Like
A lot of thoughts.
Even knowing it's baseball in Chicago, I'm not really I don't have a lot of information.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because it's a city that has a lot of history with the game.
And it has 2 baseball teams, so that is quite the
Cubs and White Sox.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely. All right, you're 1 for 1. You're 1 for 1 on the baseball test. We're
And
going to keep a tally.
Okay.
It's also, I would say, I guess New York also has it a little bit as well, but
Yeah.
there's certainly a cultural divide
Oh, absolutely.
between
Okay.
the Cubs and the White Sox.
Much like the LA Raiders had a great following of people, the White Sox have a following on the South Side where they reside, and
Yep.
it is a cultural thing to be a White Sox fan. And then Wrigleyville, the whole Cubs thing, is more of a
Because of American history and racism and redlining,
Oh,
and where the highways
yeah,
go.
how I want exactly how I would
so
describe
the White
it.
Sox
yes.
are in the predominantly, I assume,
Black area of
black,
Chicago.
yes.
Whereas the Cubs are located in more of a
downtown.
we have a subway
Yeah.
and
It's almost not even Chicago
Yeah.
where Wrigleyville is.
Yeah.
It's almost a suburb.
yeah, it's
of Chicago.
It's its
Yeah,
own it's its own
okay.
deal. So okay, well that's Chicago talk. Let's get into the beginning of this, I guess.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Let's get
So,
started.
a Thursday night in Chicago. To talk about what happened on a Thursday night in Chicago, we have to talk about the game of baseball. So we all kind of know the game of baseball. We all have
Yeah.
admitted we played the game of baseball.
I believe I see Luke Gehrig, or no, that's Bugs Raymond.
Yeah.
And that is a minor leaguer to be named. in the center.
It also
That's a member of, I believe, Texas A&M.
Very good.
Looking at the helmet.
Oh
good.
wow.
Ball and
And it
glove?
looks like you got a picture of me up in your right corner as I'm looking at flowers and thinking about Pokemon
Yeah.
while the game of baseball is playing.
Yeah,
it's
just
occurring
5
around
feet
you.
away from that mitt.
So, baseball is a losing sport. From its start and to its Hall of Famers, there's a reason why the perfect game is so coveted. Because the moment you throw the first pitch, you're already losing the game. The way stats are kept, batting average is a calculation of how little you do at the plate. It's not a signification of your accomplishments. It is something that is a dead eye you look at to say how bad I'm doing in this game. For 162 games a year, you go out in the hot sun and compete with the chaos of American pastime. Ball hitting a bat returns so many possibilities that are still being discovered today. So many different situations every day. That's a new one. You have, which we'll get into some anomalies. Randy Johnson hitting a bird with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Absolutely.
It's a thing that's gonna happen
Like a
one
Tomahawk
in a
cruise
billion
missile.
times.
Baseball
but it
breeds
happens.
so much chaos possibilities. Baseball teaches you that you cannot win them all, but you can't also lose them all. 162 games a year. You're facing the same situation several times in a row, and it only teaches you how to learn from it or how to not learn from it. Where are we at? Baseball is a reflection of patience, dedication, and fleeting hopes that it pays off, not just financially, but for yourself. It rewards yourself for all of your time spent playing a game. Today, we're here to talk about one exception to losing games. One game where everything can go right, can go your way. In a game where if you go 0 for 3 in hitting situation, you're still doing a great job. You're still going out there and you're still competing. This is about a game where something incredible happened. So, to talk about this game that we want to talk about in Chicago, we got to talk about the rules of the game, right? What's the situation of baseball? You have a pitcher on the mound, batter in the box, 7 men behind the pitcher, 1 guy behind the plate to catch it.
And a bunch of old men standing around them.
Yeah.
A bunch of old men.
Occasionally they throw a base.
Oh, isn't that the best part you know about the base throwing?
That guy's usually not even on the field. though.
No,
He's in a dugout.
no. But him coming on the field is like, oh, something's gonna happen.
I'm
Something's gonna
talking more
happen.
about like they've
I'm
got
talking
some.
about the coach and crew. I'm making
Yeah.
a joke, but
Well, you have
Talking about
coach,
your
for the people that don't know,
Louisville
for the
Pinellas.
people who don't care about baseball, know like 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old
Pretty
ball
much,
game.
it's the
you
song.
know?
The song is there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and the old men I was referring to aren't just the umpires, Ryan. Baseball is also one of the only sports where there are coaches on the field actively while the game is going
Oh, yeah,
on.
the people
Yeah, yeah.
that tell you the friend's
Your
dad,
eyes, yes.
who's also your friend's on the team, but he tells you like, hey, you should really try running home on this one.
Yeah,
You know
you,
how
you have
funny
a,
I know
that
you're not the
comparison is?
quickest kid on the team.
you have a
but-
first and a third base coach.
yeah,
Which is so funny that you put it as because it is like the manager gets to pick who their third and first base coach is. Like, it's the boys, it's the drinking buddies. Danny Ecta, he's gonna be the first base coach. But yeah, he's your eyes. So when you have a hit, which is when the ball is put in play, nobody caught it, you didn't strike out, you didn't. What's another way? A bunt for a. Yeah. Anyway. You put the ball in play. You're heading to first. You have a first base coach that tells you if it's clear. Like you have, with your speed plus what that guy can't throw, plus where the ball is, you can get to second base. Do
or
it.
beyond.
they are actively participating in this.
They
Not
are.
just when you're on base, but
Yeah.
after you hit, you look to the first base coach. I assume.
You look to your eyes are on the first base coach. Yeah.
Oh,
You're
wow.
not watching where the ball's going. You connect. You watch as a hitter. You
mean-
watch.
you-
Eyes are on the ball.
oh,
eyes on the
okay,
ball.
it's going
eyes on the
into
ball.
left
Yeah, it's
field.
going to left field. I at least can make it to first, and your
Yeah.
first base coach is the one that
It
tells
is.
you.
It is
you can get to
from
second.
batter's perspective, right? Because I mix up my left and right field, like stage left, stage right.
Field, yes. Batter, no.
So
That's what got
okay.
me a lot. It was like
So-
I
so
played
that-
right
it-
field,
it's
but I
going
bat
to right
left-handed.
field.
Yeah, if because you bat you're left-handed,
I'm left-handed because
So you
my good
bat-
eyes towards the pitcher.
you bat closer towards
Need
first
to see the
base.
ball. Yeah.
So you'd be left-hand batter.
Yeah.
Get you. It's the Ichiro perspective. You get closer to first base and you get more hits.
And left and right fielder from the
Oh
perspective.
yeah, because I mean that 5 feet makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, especially
Basic-
with Ichiro. I mean, this is not even going to be a part of it, but Ichiro would be a foot out of the batter's box, as we can see. If I had the John Madden skills, I would the batter box. He had a foot out of the batter's box while the ball was being connected to the bat, and he was already on his way. That got him such an edge. Anyway,
Okay. I never thought about left-right batters and left-hand advantage.
the strategies of,
Even-
of baseball.
Regardless, though, the left and right fielder and the perspective of the catcher. Think of
Yeah.
Yeah.
sitting behind home plate. His right is right field. His left is left
Okay.
field.
Okay. So it is batter perspective.
Yes.
The
Then.
way first, second, and third, left and right are also.
It's
from the
it's one of
perspective.
those things where I
But
assume,
batter, it
yeah,
got me. It was
I'm
not from
assuming
catcher's
it's pitcher's
perspective.
perspective or right field, left field.
Only batters is pitcher perspective, which is something I'm now sinking in. I never realized the difference on perspective. Anyway, okay.
Sports be weird.
Sports be weird. So we know about balls and strikes, right?
Yeah.
We know about what we would call
Well-
a ball. Okay, we'll just explain. A ball is
Where's the batter's box? The area you're trying to throw in. Is it
shoulders to your knees.
okay?
You got to be able to hit it in between.
So
there.
it varies between
Based on the player.
as
Between
much
player.
as the player.
Between players,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the difference
Um,
between a Randy Johnson at bat, say this was an old school
Yeah.
National League game.
Like a 6'7" guy.
Yeah, a big tall boy versus Jose Altuve of
Who
the
is-
Houston Astros, who's a wee little man.
Right.
Much more difficult to pitch to a Jose Altuve because the strike zone is much smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a ball. So we will call this the strike zone because this is
Okay.
the sweet spot. This is where if a ball fits into that square rectangle, because it's a rectangle. If
Yeah.
it fits in that rectangle,
Nobody's perfect.
and you don't swing, it's a ball you should have hit. That's what I call a strike. A ball you should have hit.
Yeah.
A ball is a ball you shouldn't have had to hit at. Shouldn't have. And
It's not a hittable ball because
Yeah.
you can hit balls way out of that zone.
yeah, but it is
Because-
regulation, not a strike. So you get 4 chances at a ball, and you get to go to first base. You have 3 chances with strikes. On your 3rd strike, you're out. On your 4th ball, you're on first. So it takes patience to either acquire a certain amount of balls, or takes eagerness to acquire a bunch of strikes. If you whiff at a ball, whiff meaning if you miss, it's considered a strike.
Yeah.
If
Boom.
you foul a ball, which was where you hit the ball,
Yeah.
but it doesn't go into what is considered the field of play.
Which is the
Yes.
2 white lines, if you can see on the bottom.
but
image, the
somebody
2 white
can
lines.
catch a foul and it's still an out.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's if the ball, this is the
Baseball gets
wackiness of
complicated.
baseball.
I understand it,
Yeah.
but just I'm pointing out the weirdness here.
Yes, if a ball is put in the air, popped up, at any point, it can be caught for an out.
Yeah.
Once
And
it goes
that's-
into the stands,
that's
it's
bat to
out.
ball contact. That's
Yep.
not human to ball contact.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Um,
Like if somebody bumped it off their shoulder weird and it does.
no,
pop up.
that's hit by a pitch.
So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
automatically means you're going to first base.
Yep.
Or someone else is going to
If a
first
catcher
base
caught a
for
ball
you.
hit by a pitch,
That's still
obviously hit by a pitch, they go to first base.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah. And so that would be an anomaly. I don't think that's ever occurred where someone got hit by a pitch and then the catcher caught the ball.
I
And
mean,
it wouldn't
it
matter
wouldn't
for
count.
the
I
play.
would say
Yeah,
it wouldn't
no.
matter for the play whatsoever,
No, the
but it's
jury
one of those
is in.
things.
It could occur.
But it'd be
I
one of
mean,
those things I'd be like, huh.
It seems like an 1800s rule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It may have been addressed
we've
at some
kind of
point.
skipped. We've into different territory.
Wait, hold on. I want to blow Ryan's tits off here for a
blow
second.
Ryan's tits
Yeah,
off
yeah.
when we look at Mookie
You can
Betts.
foul indefinitely. I remember that.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And it still only counts as having 2 strikes.
Yeah.
So you can keep bashing fouls.
Yeah,
you're gonna
you can't,
win,
You
of
can't
course.
strike out on a foul ball unless you bunt. If you bunt and it goes foul, it is an out. Doesn't matter if someone caught it. A bunt on the 2 strikes has to go into play.
Oh.
Because it is, and so a bunt, ladies and gentlemen, is a swing of the bat, but you are strategically putting the bat in front of the plate. So wherever that ball goes, you are just like slapping it down into the ground.
Is there an actual qualification where a second hand needs to be on
Yes.
on the bat?
Yes,
for
that
it
is-
to count as a
yes,
bunt? I
and
guess
it-
I would hold it like this.
So if you're
Yeah.
looking at Mookie Betts' bat, his second hand would be way down the barrel, past where that ball is.
Oh yeah, no, that not a
Preceding a bunt. This
I
is a
mean,
swing.
you could bunt with that hand position. It'd just
Yeah.
be a shitty bunt.
Diminishing returns.
Yeah,
You would
exactly.
shatter your arm.
But-
that's a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. You're gonna wreck your
But then
bones.
it becomes batter's word versus umpire's word, I guess, of what is a bunt.
Well, and also
at
you get
that
some
point.
some
Yes.
fulcrum action when you move this hand
Yeah.
Yep.
further up, choke it up further up the barrel.
I assume the second hand on the thing was not only to stabilize, but also
Yeah.
needed to be a legal thing to count as a bunt.
You know, it might be. I should have looked into that. I didn't think we'd get into much bunt talk since I had bunt 0 times in my notes.
Fascinated by baseball. I know nothing
but
about
that
it.
is a
I'm
good. I
learning, boy.
think. Yeah, I think as if one, it has to be parallel with the plate, or else if it's out of the strike zone, it's considered a ball because that's part of a swing. What's a swing, right?
So
a swing
somebody
has to
goes-
be
yeah.
parallel with the plate, or move past the plate.
Oh, nobody can axe swing or like or
can't axe
fucking
swing.
you fucking can't samurai whip
Although
up
I
the
was
bat.
accused of slicing bread in Little League, as my dad would say it, which was me karate chopping baseballs straight into the plate.
You know, if the ball gets stuck in the ground, that's a new challenge.
New challenge.
Well, that actually ties into what I was going to say about trying to blow your tits off earlier, Ryan, which is there are scenarios where a player can strike out and still reach first base.
Oh, you want to hear about this anomaly of the game of baseball? So, for a strikeout to be cemented, for it to be signed, sealed, and delivered as an out and a strikeout cannot be an out, but an out can be a strikeout.
I mean, I assume this affects stats rather than the game.
It's
as
fun for
played.
stats. It's a fun little when you see the difference in the stat of the game. You're like, oh, must have gotten a. So the catcher has to catch that ball
Yeah,
on strike
Has
3.
to be in like
for it to be a
possession.
strikeout.
Yes.
Well,
No,
for a
no, no,
strikeout
for it
to be an out.
For it to be an out. If the guy swings, whiffs it, and the ball whiffs past the catcher's glove, goes to the backstop, that guy can run to first. Who
And
can
it's
bets can run to
steal
first?
first?
He can
Basically,
steal first.
Yeah.
Do you know how many
What?
times this has happened? It happens almost once a game.
Really?
Maybe once a series where
Yeah.
the pitch is so wild that he obviously wants to swing at it and misses, and then the catcher also is like, "Oh, I can't catch this."
Or
And
if
then
it
the-
nails him in the glove and
Yeah.
just like bounces out to the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah.
and
If
then
you have
away.
if you have like a catcher error.
Oh, actually, no. I
assume.
would say this happens at least once a game. But the case is the catcher, the ball is there. They are a protector. They're a goalie
Yeah.
for the game of baseball. So they stop it. They didn't catch it. They just stop it. They pick the ball up. They throw it to first base. The guy's out. Typically, the whole situation happens before the batter even notices that the ball was not caught.
Exactly.
Got ya.
Yeah.
And they don't even like if the batter just like more
Batter's
often than
frustrated.
not
I just struck out.
they
so
just start walking back
tag
to the
him.
dugout.
They just tag him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Another anomaly. Do you know that there has been at least almost once a season a player believes they've been struck out, but they only had 2 strikes, so
I
they
mean,
just walk back to the
I feel
dugout.
like I saw that SB Nation video or whatever the fuck, or Chart Party.
It must,
sorta
there-
deal.
yeah,
Well,
it's another fun
yeah.
anomaly. So the game takes place over 9 innings, right? There's 9 players on each team, counting the pitcher, and it takes place over 9 innings. And the winner of the game has the most runs, which is getting to touch that home plate. You made it all the way around. You went to Candyland, you went to blah blah blah, you went to Ding and Dang.
You saw the bad player. You saw the coaches.
Yep,
You know,
you
you
touched them all, is what they said.
Yes.
That counts as 1 run. So whoever has the more runs, whoever touched home plate the most times in the game wins over 9 innings. So the game used to be a game where it was called aces. When you touch home, it was called aces, and they would play to 21. It wasn't a game of time or innings. It was a game of runs scored.
Was this when it was called Rounders?
Might have been the case. It was on
Are
MLB
these
Facts.
old
So
names for baseball?
Yeah.
yeah,
It was like some Dutch game that was brought to the Americas.
it's pretty old. It's a pretty old game.
That makes sense. Like cards,
yeah.
you're trying to get to a 21.
Yeah, you're trying to get to a destination, not a.
First to 9. People change up the rules depending on which neighborhood you're playing.
Yeah.
in and
Well, it's
all
like a
that.
vernacular of the time that like, because TV, radio, internet, none of that exists. So
Yeah.
everyone knew how to play some version of cards.
Yeah.
So you can just transpose the verbiage of cards to this stickball game.
So the whole thing we talking about balls and strikes in the early stages of the game. This is like 1850s, right? 1800s baseball, insane game.
Yeah.
There was no balls
I
and
assume
strikes.
people died.
Yeah, of course they
I
did.
mean, yeah.
There was
You
there
catch cholera just by being
just by touching the bat, There were no balls and strikes. It would just be dudes whiffing the balls and like saying, "Go and get it. Go hit it." So then, after time, games were going on. They'd have to end the game because it was dark out and it was time for dinner. There would be, when they institute innings, there would be innings where between the two pitches, the two pitchers, top inning and bottom inning, there'd be over 600 pitches. Think about that, Taylor.
Out of one, out of
So
One
so
inning.
we don't have balls, we don't have strikes. We're just throwing at
Throwing the
some-
ball,
we're
waiting for
at
someone to hit
some-
it.
Some
Waiting
Dutch
for someone to hit
guy
it. Yeah.
just,
You
like,
got to hit it. Got to put it in play because the only way to get an out was in play.
and the 600 pitch out was like one pitcher, right?
It was 300 apiece, I would say.
Okay,
That's one inning.
yeah.
Okay.
In a modern day game of baseball, pitchers.
Oh, no,
are-
over 3 innings. My bad. Over 3 innings. But
Okay.
yes, so modern day pitchers.
You're considered an Iron Man as a starting pitcher. A concept that didn't exist in those days. If you you're the guy that starts the game, obviously starting pitcher,
Yeah.
for your team, and you're considered like an Iron Man if you can make it to 110, 120
Yeah.
pitches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, after you hit that
But-
100 mark, you're just sweetening the deal with
More often than not,
how much stamina you have.
Exactly,
in a way.
exactly.
You know, your endurance for pitching a whole game.
But
then
and
you have
you gotta be really on one too to be able to get that far. Anyway, what's up?
But I mean, you're 1850s guy.
Yes.
You're
So
fucking,
these
you're a
also
fucking coal miner that just wants to swing a bat at something that's
This-
not their wife.
or an Irishman.
Or an Irishman, and you gotta throw 600 times, to
So,
him and his buddy.
Yes, you gotta while they're all just slamming Hefeweizens and shit.
Yeah.
This was also before the 90-mile-an-hour fastball was a thing. It was dudes playing catch with the catcher,
yeah.
and dudes just missing because they were they were weak back
How many
then.
people
Well, the
got-
barrel of the
yeah.
bat was smaller
Yes,
in those days.
barrel
as
of the
well.
bat was smaller. So they at some point they implemented balls. So if the pitcher protested so much not giving them a good pitch to hit, they would be issued. You get to go on base. You're there. You go. That's what you get, Mr. Pitcher. It was
not
a
bad.
point of discipline to the
Yeah.
game, right? And so even then, which is a modern thing with for an eternal thing with baseball. All the players started kicking and screaming for that to happen. Umpires would take them 9 balls to call it a walk.
Good lord.
Yeah, just kicking and screaming, just
Wow.
they're changing the game on us, guys. Which is the thing that's happening right now in baseball,
That's
where they're trying to
a
make the
constant
game
theme
go
in
faster.
baseball. Baseball's a game that just wants to stick to tradition. People's entertainment value of the game be damned. Dad went out of town for a brief moment in the 80s and 90s, but then came back.
Well, you're talking about steroid.
Yeah.
I mean, we're
We're talking about juicing. I think I needed to hit the next slide by now. What is this? Yes, I wanted to show some old-timey baseball.
okay.
Back in my day, you could run into the freaking catcher at home plate. Now you just got to make a business call and either slide in or get out of the way. So now here we got old timey baseball, and
I'm trying to read this name. Is it NGPAUGH?
Yeah, I think we're cutting off half of it.
I think it's Egba by looking at
Egba.
it.
Something Ingba out at home here.
That was in that was. It looks like the date there says it was March 70th, 1990. I'm just playing. That's not a real date.
Oh, is that a photo? I was trying to make out a date. But here we see Mr. Ingba,
Yeah.
and he appears to be making sure that Mr. Forrest, the catcher here, will never be able to
Have children
have
once ever
children.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As
I mean,
he's flying into the man looking like a human fucking rocket.
which used to be
He
a
has
real
to-
threat back in the day when people wanted to have a fleet of children.
I mean,
You needed him for the farm.
You needed them because half of them are gonna die.
the man is almost breakdance fighting because he has his left hand on the ground.
You
like
see the
pivoting.
freaking malice in his face right there?
I don't know if he's using that to slow him down to prevent injury, or if he's using that to then spring up and do a donkey kick.
Are you talking
into
about how
this
his
man.
left hand is gripping
The
dirt
earth.
to
He is
throw in that
traveling
catcher's
so
face?
fast he has to grip
I don't
the
think
ground.
that's a face of malice. I think that's a face of this is gonna hurt.
No, that man came in hot. He knew what he was doing.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you still know it's gonna hurt. And this is actually pretty tame for
Yeah.
like what you could do back in the day. Like you could
Yeah.
not slide and
Oh,
just
chuck
come
him.
in full on.
Oh,
like,
if you're coming
full-
in with
man,
the right
tackle a
hook,
dude.
I
yeah.
wish we were gonna spend so much time on baseball. because I would have put in catcher collisions is one of my favorite.
I mean,
YouTube
you could
holes to
choose.
go
You
down.
could choose to go face first
Yes.
Yeah.
and really
Dude,
fuck that catcher
for
up.
sure.
Well, I mean, at this point, the catcher has the catcher face mask, so going face first. I mean, you gotta make sure
Doesn't
you
save
don't.
You
everything.
can still hit him with your shoulder in the bread box, and that's gonna hurt a lot more than getting
yeah.
slid into.
Oh yeah. So then we got modern baseball,
Uh huh.
and it looks like the fanciest dance I've ever seen.
Oh, look at that umpire. What do you think that umpire is seeing right now?
Dick all.
He's like, I gotta make sure I get this kid's name right on the back of this jersey.
See,
Oh, that is what it is. He's looking at the name
Yeah.
at the back of the jersey. I thought he was
Because what perspective does he have on if that tag comes before he touches the bag?
one could make.
Oh,
yeah.
none.
One could make an argument that if his eye level was actually lower,
Yeah.
he could be looking between the third baseman's legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trying to see when.
He's
trying
getting
to
the
get-
crotch cam footage.
Basically.
I was thinking back off a little bit off to the dirt, and then you get
Oh, yeah.
at least you get to see his
Yeah.
forearm touch the other, But yeah, you actually you're right about crotch cam is the best angle because then he's gonna get the dude's hand tag in the back.
can see- he can
He's
see
looking
the
at
runner's
corner.
arm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He's
And he
look-
can see when the back of the player's
Yeah.
glove hits the runner's arm.
Oh.
But that's all a moot point because he's clearly staring into the back of the third baseman's head.
Yeah.
Like he's a lover
He's
in a
checking
fit of
cheek-
passion.
He's checking out cheeks right now.
I no, it's true. It's straight back of head cam.
It's it's back
an
ahead.
opportune
He's
photo.
not looking at the third baseman's butt, but he is looking at back of the head jersey. Just
If he was looking at
If
third
we
baseman's
subtract the sunglasses, you don't know where his eyes are. You don't know what his eyes are gazing
butt, head's
upon.
a dead giveaway, man.
uh,
Ask any woman.
Ass, any woman?
Just ask any woman how much you can get away with sunglasses.
he's not trying to side eye and out here.
Okay.
You can tell where the eyes kind of are with sunglasses
Yeah.
based on head positioning.
So for this slide, I wanted to just talk about the anomalies of baseball. We're ramping up into something here,
Yeah.
guys.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about the anomalies of baseball. The game. So the game has always been. It started off as an offensive game, but with the rules of balls now becoming a thing, strikes had to become a thing. Same thing. The umpires would say, they do like
Wait. I'm sorry.
Yep.
What was it before strikes were a thing? Just one
Strikes
batter.
were not a thing.
One batter was just there until he hit the ball.
Well,
Yeah.
he's just whiffing
600
at it.
pitches in 3 innings.
Jesus Christ.
They were just waiting. They were just waiting. Pitchers would not throw in the right spot
And
on
you'd-
purpose
and you'd
to
have
try
an
to
umpire
get them
getting-
tuckered out, or for
getting
them to
looked
go
at.
for
So
a bad
literally,
ball to
because
hit. That was the strategy
because
of
the
game.
batter had unlimited chances,
Yep.
the pitcher would intentionally throw bad pitches.
balls. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and
You're
so
just- yeah.
for them to get fatigued and try to just whatever, I'm gonna go after this shit pitch because I just want to hit.
Yeah.
Everybody wants the action, right?
Good
Hey,
lord.
I'm toying with Joey over there.
Hey.
I'm throwing it. I'm throwing loop ups. I'm telling the catcher to go 14 feet to the right. Hell, I even passed it to the catcher without even it leaving my hand.
So strikes became a
Yeah.
thing. Umpires also protested by giving a 6-ish strike. There was a whole season where they would say, warn with every single strike. The first strike would be free. It'd be a freebie. And that's kind of where they think
Yeah.
the 4 balls, 3 strikes came from. Was
Just
the
for
first strike
funsies.
was silent.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, that next season that's gonna be a strike. I promise.
He didn't
you.
call it, but he would be like, "Hey, man, that was a strike."
Exactly. And so it would take 4 strikes to get somebody out. So the game had then become madness for pitching. That's where now you're getting different styles of pitches, different hand placements to make the ball do different weird stuff. And just after, I think it was 12 years after the strike was invented, the first no-hitter happened.
I guess you did need that long alpha to baseball for people just to figure out what they could do.
Yep.
While they're throwing 600 fucking pitches in a game.
Yeah, you created the laboratory
What they
for
can-
them
yeah.
to be like,
Once
what
you-
if I fucking hold it this way and then really hook my shoulder into
It's like
it?
when
And
you're in
they're
a
like,
video game and
"Whoa!"
you're just in the danger room
Well,
where they're
I could also see this being a thing where people are like, "Oh, I'm throwing a little extra spice on this pitch," and then maybe at this point when, because strike was invented what year?
Like
Ish.
1868, something like that.
Well, I mean, as the game becomes more popular, more people throw their own spice on it.
Yeah.
And hey, Cletus.
Hey,
Cletus.
Ricky,
I
you
throw-
heard of the spitball?
I spit on the ball and I throw it. And you know what? No matter how they can't hit it.
Yeah. And
You
that's
know.
exactly how it starts to go. And then people start engineering good pitches to happen. Next thing you know, it is strictly like a pitching game.
Was it a New England game? Because, I mean,
Yeah.
we think of
Oh,
baseball
yeah,
as
big time New England.
distinctly American, but baseball at this time in the Americas, is it universal, south to northeast?
You know, from all the information, all the baseball teams that are referenced in my history quest on this,
Yeah.
all New York, Pittsburgh, kind of that crest
Your
of
urban areas.
yeah, your founding fathers' territories.
Okay.
So that's only information I have. I know, like, nowadays baseball is widely accepted across both Americas. So it's,
On both sides of the Mason-Dixon.
yeah, I mean, North and South
Yeah,
America.
that Mason-Dixon.
That's right. That is the literal Mason. My dad would always say that for literally any line. Mm-hmm. Literally any line.
Thanks, Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl has ruined me, and I forgot that the Mason-Dixon was an actual real line.
Yeah, that separated the northern states versus the southern states, or slave and free states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still,
I
I mean
where-
South America.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
okay.
It's a world game.
It's
now,
it's
but,
really big. It's really big around the world.
But no, like I could see where, like, yes, it was a uniquely, if we're going to go in the 1860s,
Yeah.
where there was a more Union game than Confederacy game.
Yeah.
Because the Confederacy had all sorts of little weird traditions and shit that they liked to
Little
do.
fun little things that they were
like
doing.
fox hunting.
Yeah.
And, you know.
You know, yada
Were
yada
there Confederate
yada.
rules to baseball?
I don't think so. I didn't want to look into anything
Like,
previous
hey,
to
man,
1850.
I get 6 strikes in Dixie.
Oh, so actually, all the information I started was like 1858. So that's like the good times, I guess, right?
It's antebellum.
But then there was a Negro League. If you didn't know about that, Ryan.
Oh yeah, because then we had Jackie Robinson.
Mm-hmm. But he played in the Major League. But yeah, he started out in the Negro League.
Yeah, but that's your start of the end of that and integration in baseball,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
became a thing.
Kinda, sorta. There are some, since we're talking
Oh,
about
interesting
outliers
today.
of baseball.
The second man to cross the color line debuted like 45 years ago, 65 years ago today. The
Damn.
guy after Jackie Robinson today on this very day we record.
Yeah, and then
Wish I knew his name.
there
God.
was I read a story that was a really fascinating Twitter thread about, like, the man who would have been the first
Yes.
first player to cross the
Yeah.
the color line in baseball. Instead, he was the first man to cross the color line in football.
Interesting.
But basically, he was
Wow.
such a talented athlete that if he had chosen baseball to be his sport, it's pretty much unanimously the consensus that, like, he would have beaten Jackie Robinson by a few years to be the first black player in the majors. And there was a period of time before there was even a Negro League where there were black players.
Oh, are you talking about Babe Ruth?
No, not necessarily even Babe Ruth, because there was a Negro League while Babe Ruth was playing baseball.
Right.
But no, like in that sort of post-Civil War era, prior to a Negro League, there were a handful, not a ton, because America and racism, but there were a handful of players.
There's a pre-segregation baseball sort of a deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, but
There were a handful of black players who played on what would be considered professional baseball teams prior to, like, the segregation of baseball.
Wow. Inspiring. I should have put that in. No,
I'm sure-
that's a whole different thing.
I'm sure
It
you
is.
only wanted to talk about the basics of baseball for maybe like 10 minutes.
Guys, I have
but-
so many more slides after this.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
promise. It's
I'm
okay.
I have a
bored.
feeling-
I'm bored.
This is absolutely fine because I
We're
like.
testing the waters.
Because
We-
what if we just run like a river through the meat of my shit? So that's a weird sentence. So then I want to talk about, since it became a defensive game, there are a lot of defensive achievements in the game, right? I told you baseball is a game of losing. So when something great happens, it is almost it's very notably only noted. It's I've been at a loss for words all day today. That's why I had this typed
If
out.
I could
go.
layman explain
Yeah.
what you mean by baseball is a game of losing, all of the metrics usually in baseball are like to show how little you fuck up.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all negative
Yeah.
Like
reflections. Yeah.
batters are judged on their batting average,
Yeah.
which is a number with 1.00 or 1,000 being like you hit
Yeah.
the ball every single time.
And
it's
if
thrown to
you're the best of the best, you're getting like
As close to 1,000 as you can.
yes,
Yeah.
but you're only maybe getting a third, like under 300.
300-400
Yeah.
for like
You
the
know,
historical greats of
tops.
the game.
For the historical greats, about a 400, 420.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is is a legendary. I mean, yeah, it means like almost
This
every other
always
time you're up
confused me
there.
as a kid because you would see the guy where it's like it's his second time up bat today and ever, and he got to first on the first round, so it's like
Yeah, it's
batting
so nice.
average 1,000.
Yeah.
super fucking
The
Saiyan.
term, and it's a term you'll hear me. I've probably said it a billion times on a podcast. Batting 1,000, batting 1,000, perfect, awesome, insane. It's a term I use I wear it so deep, and so I like the whole OCD about me is when the dude would have that, I'd be at a game watching he has 1,000 batting average. This guy's perfect. This is a perfect player, and then I'd watch him strike out. I'm like,
There it went.
there it is.
Now
That's that
he's-
losing
now
game.
he's about 917 or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And then conversely, on the pitcher's end of the field, you have ERA, earned
Yeah.
run
so
average.
how much
you
fucked
fucked up.
How much
Yeah.
you fucked up by giving up runs
Yeah.
while you were
I've
pitching.
never thought of it. It's
Yeah.
like all the statistics are almost negative modifiers, other than like, hey, you made it on second
Yeah.
this many times.
I mean, there are positives as
Yeah,
well.
There are.
yeah,
How many
yeah,
hits?
yeah.
How many home runs?
But your
RBI.
basic
Are-
ERA and your
Your
batting
two
average.
big the two biggest stats of baseball are ERA and batting average. And yeah, those are a reflection of how little you've done or how much you have given up.
How
to
little
another
you
team.
fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
At best.
so the anomalies, the unanimous anomalies of the game stand out primarily on defense. You have yourself a no hitter. That would be, and this is one of those
What's
funny
a
things
hit?
where.
What class?
Should we go backwards to a hit?
No. But I mean,
Right,
like,
so-
swinging the bat, making contact with
Yeah,
the ball,
uh-huh.
goes into play,
Uh-huh.
or a bunt that goes into play.
And the person achieves first base off of that attempt is a
Okay.
hit.
If they are
There's
thrown
subjectivity
out,
to that matter,
is
though.
It is a gray area. I mean, there is more to it than that. The layman's blatant term, yes. If someone swings, hits the ball, it drops. No one
they
catches
don't
it.
have to get into first, like, for it to count as a hit, or they have to get to first as well.
Yes, they have to get to first safely
Okay.
without getting it
A
out,
hit
without
is-
someone
a hit-
else getting it out either.
In
Too.
its most basic form, without like bringing errors into the mix,
Yeah.
is you made
Yeah.
contact with
oh
the
my
ball,
God, errors.
Yeah,
so
I know.
God.
Okay.
and if it didn't go over a fence and
Uh-huh.
become a home run, it hit the ground.
I'm sorry, boyos. I'd be doing
No,
this.
this is great.
I'd
This
be
is a-
doing this even if it's football shit.
I
that
have
already
so many
know.
notes because of this, and I did extensive writing on what's an out, what's a hit, just for this because I knew you're not gonna blindside me with your questions. You're not gonna, but you're gonna
Yeah,
later.
it's like the ball wasn't a home run,
Yeah.
but it did hit the ground, and you made it to at least first base.
Okay, so then I want to give you an even better anomaly in the game of baseball,
Yeah.
which is simpler to explain. A perfect game. A perfect game is when no one touches first base at all.
Nice.
And the game of baseball, I said 9 innings. You get 3 outs in an inning. I don't think that was said at all. 3 outs in an inning. So that pitcher has completed 27 outs without anybody getting to first base.
So would
At
a
all.
no hitter and a perfect game? What separates them?
A perfect game is a no hitter, but a no hitter is not a perfect game.
And
A
what
no-hitter-
what
Yeah.
separates the two is in a no hitter, people can still reach first base.
Oh yeah, you can walk them.
You-
You can hit
you
them with
can-
the ball.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You can get
okay.
what's called an error,
Yeah.
which is a very subjective, often play in baseball, which means that
You should have been able to get that out.
somebody made a mistake
Yeah.
that
You
prev-
throw a ball at a guy and it drops out of
Sure.
his mitt. Is,
Sure,
Is
yeah.
the classic.
Yeah, the guy, the sun got in his eyes. Heavy quotation marks,
Yeah.
everybody. The sun got in his eyes,
A
or
CIA agent. got it.
the man on the grassy knoll got into his eyes. Or it's a routine double play. You're getting the guy out at second, but then the guy just whiffs the ball
Yeah.
super hard to the first baseman, and it gets out of his glove. It's an error. Yeah, things
But
like that happen.
if like the shortstop makes a diving catch and overshoots it a little bit, and your ball goes skipping into his ribs, and he's late grabbing it and throwing it to first, that's not an error on the shortstop's part.
Right.
That's still usually considered a hit.
and so
Oh.
there's
so there's
there's
some subjectivity.
there's some
in
subjectivity.
what is a
It's-
hit and what's an error.
Yeah, if
Okay,
it's like,
okay.
yeah, I've been noticing that a lot with MLB The Show, that
Yes.
I've been like getting lucky with the ball hit his glove, but he wasn't able to get in his glove,
Well,
throw
the-
it to the first baseman, and I was able to get there in time.
And where that comes into play there is like hits and errors like can make a difference because
Yeah.
if you get to first base on an error, that's not considered a hit. Your batting average takes a hit because of that, even though you got on first base.
Oh,
That I mean, that's
interesting.
I don't yeah, that's a part of it, but it's kind of a fun.
Only
little
one
noteworthy.
empire.
No, there's multiple umpires.
Empire. Yeah, there's 4 umpires.
Oh my God, which one's gonna strike back?
The one on the behind the back.
Ah,
He's the most. He's
you
the.
can't trust that one.
He's the daddy umpire.
yeah.
Home plate umpire.
That should be my Twitter. The umpire strikes back, and then I'll just post umpire sins.
Is it Joe West? Just your profile.
Joe
picture?
West is my yes.
Yeah.
No, it's Angel Rodriguez blowing the perfect game for Justin Verlander. With do you know that one? Do you know? Nah.
I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
Anyways, we'll get into that some other time.
I mean, I've heard.
I'll do a whole episode on perfectos.
Yeah.
Okay, so then also there's the golden inning. That's a highly coveted thing. I mean, it's not highly coveted because it happens.
Is that synonymous with
9
with
strikes.
immaculate?
9 strikes? No,
Yeah.
that is it. Immaculate inning. Because I got it confused with the golden sombrero. Golden sombrero is when you face a batter 4 times and you struck them out 4 times. Wow. Yeah, that's more for the batter. The batter gets the golden sombrero. It doesn't have to be the same pitcher.
Oh, somehow
it's
they
the Razzie
still
of
made
baseball.
they made it more racist.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, because
It's a bad thing that you're wearing the golden sombrero.
It's
well,
It's not
never
a
thought about the
crown.
racial connotations with it, but it's
yeah. Well, it's due to the fact that like if a pitcher throws a perfect game, he'll face each batter 3 times.
yeah.
So if in
Right, yeah.
the fact that like in a golden sombrero situation, you've gotten an extra chance beyond what you're already guaranteed.
So your team has done a lot for you to get that extra at bat. Right.
and you still fucked it up.
And
You're,
you still
you're at
goofed
game
it.
percentage 117%, and you
Yep.
still fuck up at that point.
And I do want to say, like, in things that is still have yet to occur in baseball, there's something that I've been attempting to do in the show that I
Yeah.
like to call the immaculate game that is yet to occur ever
Oh,
in baseball.
fucking 27 pitches,
Which would be-
27 outs.
Which would be 81 pitches.
happened.
Oh,
No one's ever thrown 27
honestly,
outs
the
in
game would
81
have to end.
pitches. Yeah.
The game would have to end at that point.
Yeah.
That's
But you're
when you
saying
beat
striking out every
baseball.
single player?
Literally every pitch is a strike, and
Yeah.
you strike out every batter.
I think if you
Never
lower the
been
difficulty enough, you might be able to get that.
I'm at as low as it goes.
You know, you just have to play as the other team and just whiff at every ball.
it's true. I guess.
That's how you hack it. That's how you hack the game. Okay, so then we talked about defensive anomalies.
Yeah.
Then so the offense, it's a losing game. There's nothing much celebrated about winning. You get a lot of runs, cool. You can have the most runs in a single game, cool. It's a temporary title.
it's something in the record book.
Yeah.
The only thing that is offensively like encouraged is something we will get to a little bit later. I'll save it. So you have your home run. A home run is when you hit it out of the park. That's a
Dinger.
That's over the wall.
over the wall. No one can catch it, but people have robbed
Scale
home
the
runs
wall.
And it's
Scale the
also
wall.
not only over the wall. It's
out of play.
yeah. I mean, in certain baseball parks, people
Oh.
have gotten cheeky. Because not every park is built the same.
No,
no,
Unlike
no.
the American sport of football, where every field is 100 yards long
Regulations.
Yeah.
and 53 and a third yards wide.
This is one of the things
Golly,
I
this
love about
fires me
baseball,
up, dude.
even though
This
I don't.
fires me up so
Because
much.
you could have a big fucking wall,
Yeah.
a la Boston, or
Yes,
you
dude.
could
or a
have.
la
I
Houston.
should have had a fucking. There was one where the Detroit Tigers had a flagpole in center field.
like out in the open.
Yes, it was in play.
So at some point in time,
no!
a bunch of men in suits had to sit in a room and draw a line where it was reasonable
Yep.
that if your ball nails the big green monster,
Yeah.
it's not considered like
Yep.
it hit the wall. It's considered a home run
Granted,
at that point.
Oh,
Granted-
really? Like you could hit the monster and get a home run.
Not anymore. It has to go above the monster. But granted, the green monster is like 300 feet. It's one of the shortest walls.
Oh, yeah.
So if it were to like lengthwise, if you measure it, the ball would have been a home run. But what does boil my blood is there is a set of dimensions all baseball parks need to have. They have to have right wall needs to be at least X. Center field needs to be
Okay.
at least X. They are very small. You can go with the major minimum, and this applies to every ballpark across every new ballpark except one team that has built 3 baseball stadiums in the course of this rule being every single team. And that's the New York fucking Yankees. The New York Yankees were grandfathered in to have like a 280 wall. Every other baseball park?
It's 320, right?
320. 325, I
And
think, is
with
the minimum.
home game advantage over
You play it
200
81
games? Yeah.
times. 81 times in a year. And you just build your roster full. And it's the right field wall. It's the right field wall, so you have to have a left-handed batter to hit it that way, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're going Oppo, that's inside baseball. We get to
Left-handed
Oppo
power
field.
hitters are going to eat on
Shine.
that
They're going to shine in.
Was Babe Ruth a left-handed power hitter?
He was a switch hitter, wasn't he?
I know he pitched left-handed, though, yeah. I think it was switched, though.
Babe Ruth pitched?
Babe Ruth is
He
pitcher.
He did everything.
Yeah. That was back when men were men.
Well,
And
that's
Babe
also-
Ruth was a black man, so, yeah.
That's also like in the era of like guys like Jim Thorpe as well, where like, or even like even after that, Jim Brown in football. Like, there's a period of time where there's still like a level of amateurism in sports where
You're
like
just good at sport,
Yeah.
and it don't matter what you're swinging or ball you're
Oh, yeah, Jim-
shooting or running with.
Jim
it.
Thorpe's probably like one of America's greatest athletes ever.
Yeah.
He's in like the NCAA, the professional baseball, professional football, the professional track and field, and the Olympic Hall of Fame.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And so-
Guy fucks, dude.
Yeah, he did. But like, it's just one of those things where like certain people were just born demigods,
Yeah.
compared to your average American schlub. And so when you got to go out on the field, you were a demigod, like a
Yeah.
Babe Ruth, like
Yeah.
a Jim Brown, or a Jim Thorpe.
Yeah. It's fantastic. So the only other examples I have, we did get on a little tangent of, there's a lot about baseball to talk about, especially on a first episode
Yeah.
about baseball. I was thinking about 2 other episodes for baseball where we can just talk about baseball
Oh.
more. But
Dope.
so there's the home run. It's a single event. Or up to 2 other people can be involved in it if you have other people on base. But if you have 3 people on base and you hit it out of the park, it's called a grand slam, right?
Yeah, I know. I've eaten one of those. Lots of pancakes.
So then another thing that is celebrated, but is pretty common. Yeah, grand slam is pretty good.
You can also not be involved in the game and still be involved in a home run.
What?
How?
If
talking
you're an
about-
audience member who reaches out over the wall,
You're talking about souvenir time.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, and now you're talking about.
Oh no!
fucking
Like
you
can steal a home. Like
yeah,
does it come
dude,
down to?
It comes down. The umpires see it because now
the
they have
fucking
review.
black and white striped elephant in the room for every sport.
Yeah, I know. It always comes down to dad and the cops.
The judgment call of some old man who wasn't talented enough to play the game. He's judging.
But here's how the game has adapted. There's a yellow line across all the outfield. It has to go above the yellow line for it to be a home run because there's a lot of soft fencing, so it'll like split. If it hits the yellow line and then goes out, it's a home run. If it hits, in the case of Jose Canseco, hits him on the head and then goes out of play, it's a home run.
Yeah.
But if a audience member, what is
Did
that,
Jose
fan?
Canseco
a crowd
kill a guy?
member.
No, Jose, a ball was hit. He lost it in the sun. It hit him on the head, and then it went out of play into a home run. It bounced. It would have landed in the park, and he would have been able to throw it to the second and stop, not have a run occur. But it hit him on the freaking head, and it went out into the stands. And he was like, "What happened? I heard something hit my head. Where's the ball?"
See, this is where my ignorance of baseball comes into play, because I primarily know Jose Canseco as a pitcher, right?
Jose Canseco, no, right field.
Oh, right fielder. Okay.
Jose Canseco, yeah, I don't know who you're thinking
Okay.
about. There's only one Jose.
I just see this is. Where
You should know him from steroids.
I do know. And apparently a game of poker where he lost a finger.
Yeah. Jose, it's not good for Jose. I don't. I
Lost a
think he got.
finger in poker.
One of sports history's greatest rats,
Well,
as well.
I don't think there would have been steroid era trials if it wasn't for a Jose Canseco just being a narc.
Basically, he got caught, and like all of history's greatest rats went, well, I'll tell you, everyone
Yeah.
is doing it too.
I mean, it's terrible to say, but cocaine and steroid era of any sport is
And you're playing in Oakland.
immensely more entertaining. Like, I would be into that.
Oh no, he was Oakland and he was L.A. He was a West Coast. That boy.
California boy.
California boy. Okay, so then one last thing I want to talk, and this is also common,
Yeah.
is walk-offs. Ryan, in the game of baseball, there is a top inning and a bottom inning.
Yeah.
Another fun sentence.
The away team bats at the top of the inning.
Yes.
The home team bats at the bottom.
So then at the end of the game, the home team has a chance because it's just an inning. You have 3 outs to
Yeah.
score as many runs as you
But
want.
if you're ahead and you strike them out at the top of the inning, the game's done.
if you're
Yeah.
pitching, yeah.
Yeah, if you're ahead,
you're ahead-
going into the 9th inning and you get everybody out, you don't have to play that bottom frame. That's just insult to injury to have
Yeah.
the other team come up, right?
Everybody gets to
Or
go
vice
home.
versa, if you
Yeah.
are tied or losing in the bottom of the ninth inning and it's your team's turn to bat, and someone scores a run of any sort, whether
Yep.
that be hitting a home run or just making a hit that drives in one of the guys who's already on the bases to crossing home plate, that's called a walk-off.
That's game over. That's
Because
because you don't have to play any further. You've
No.
already won the game.
It's just
right?
adding insult to injury to keep playing after that point.
So there is the walk-off, which can be any kind of thing, a hit. Most famously, it is the home run. It is I will pop every single time someone hits a walk-off home run. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
I will pop for the New York Yankees when they hit a walk-off home run. Not as hard as I would for the Seattle Mariner walk-off home run. It is because it's an all hopes lost kind of thing. Conversely, there's also the walk-off grand slam, which is equally as massive and crazy.
Yeah.
It is a team then down by more than just one run. They don't just need one run to win or like a hit to win. They need a fucking miracle. And there's 3 men on the bags, and they just have one guy solve the problem with one little swing into the rafters.
There's
A
also
walk-off
the,
home run is fantastic.
The unlikely nature that there's 3 guys just ready to go, and you've now set up a situation where you can score the maximum amount of points possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
And
one
one big
home
go.
run.
And
Yeah.
one big go. Because at any time, you can only score 4 runs. That's the most you can score at one time.
Yeah.
You know, so Grand Slam.
Until they add fourth base.
Yeah, until they had the 4th place. Until they had the 4th meal.
They slow baseball down somehow in the future.
One time, I think I put it.
When
no,
the diamond goes from triangle cut to princess cut,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
second and third base at the apex,
Yeah.
wow.
and you have a fourth
That
base
would be
coach.
sick.
I'm down for space.
I'm real. That's how you
baseball.
fix baseball, baby.
Well, that's how you have to play it on the moon.
That's moonball. So just before we get to the next slide, which is going to unveil what we're going to be talking about today, guys.
All right.
There was
get there.
one fun fact was that you can only get 4 runs at a time, right? That's the most
Yeah.
you can get in one swing. There was a player named Fernando Tatis Sr. His son now plays baseball.
Son's a very good baseball player.
His
Okay.
father was a firecracker. He was really good for a short amount of time during the steroid era. So, Fernando Tatis hit 2 grand slams in a single inning.
It was that bad of an inning that they went through the entire roster and
Yes.
had this man
Back up.
score 8 fucking points
In one inning.
with his own damn hands.
Yeah. Yep. It's
Was this a home or away game for
It was
this
home.
guy? Okay, cool.
it was a sweet home because like honestly, I don't know
Who do
I
you
honestly
play for? Do you know?
St. Louis Cardinals. Mark McGwire was on that team.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to say it was his Mark McGwire home run season. It was right around then. Watching Mark McGwire round the bases with this like 4XL jersey
No neck.
because he had no neck and it was all muscles
Yeah.
because of steroids.
I saw a meme this today that actually cracked me up about Mark McGuire, so it is apropos. And it is a picture of Mark McGuire in the 80s when he's still in Oakland, or even early 90s. And it's him standing next to Bill Murray. And I
Oh
believe
my
he's like
God.
presented a bat, like a game-used bat to Bill Murray, because he was just like a celebrity who's in town for the day, so they're recognizing him. And it's like, we really should have known something was going on with Mark McGuire when Bill Murray had a bigger torso than him at one point in time. And you look
Dude.
at it, it's like, it is a little bit forced perspective because Bill
Yeah.
Murray is closer to the camera.
Sure.
But it's still
It's
nonetheless
quite the
funny.
contrast. Like you can only do so much with weights.
Yeah.
All right. So are you guys ready to talk about what like I really brought you here for? We've
Yeah,
talked a
let's get to
lot
the main
about
point.
baseball.
Yeah.
It's been a lot about baseball. So hang on. Sorry. Let me get my notes up because that should be good. I should have that up. All right.
Start at the belch
We're gonna start. Okay.
and record.
And sound speeds.
A Thursday night in Chicago.
We're gonna talk
What could
about
go wrong?
a Thursday night in Chicago. Mike Cameron hits 4 home runs in a single game.
That was not a Thursday night in Chicago. That was sometime in Baltimore.
Nope.
Wasn't it?
I just made a PowerPoint about this, Taylor.
Really?
Do you think I made up that it's from Chicago?
Oh, all right. I
Okay.
didn't know this was the subject. I thought this was just like another highlight of how cool baseball is.
Nope. This is our Thursday night in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Mike Cameron hits 4 home runs in a single game. Is that the only? Oh, yeah. Next slide. So, who is Mike Cameron, right? Yeah?
He's a
Um,
baseball player. He played center field.
Mike Cameron was born. Go ahead.
I
Go
was
for
just
it.
gonna say the star of the Mariners, kind of in between a Ken Griffey and Ichiro.
He was the replacement for Ken Griffey Jr.
Mike Cameron was born January 8th, 1973 in LaGrange, Georgia. He's a Capricorn. He was drafted in 1991 by the Chicago White Sox in the 18th round. Very late round to be drafted.
Sort of pulled a reverse Griffey.
He-
If you're looking at the teams on the screen there.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that something? Yeah, although,
Well,
yeah,
that's the Yankees with the pinstripes,
no,
right?
That's Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Chicago.
So
you
you
know.
went Chicago, Cincinnati, Seattle, and then probably elsewhere. But
I have several slides coming up, Taylor.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm getting ahead of
he-
myself.
He played minor ball for 4 years before he was ever picked up.
Okay.
And he debuted. That's the word. Sorry. He debuted for the Chicago
He was a
White Sox.
debutante
He
for
was
the
a
Chicago White
debutant
Sox.
for the
Okay.
Chicago White Sox on August 27th, 1995. That's when he got to play his first game in the major leagues. All of 1996, bounced in between the club and minor league. 1997, he finally won the starting job of center field.
Okay.
And he was ranked 6th in Rookie of the Year voting.
Not
6th
bad.
for an 18th round draft pick. Let's go around the room. Do you know who won Rookie of the Year?
I was gonna ask, like,
1997.
who's the big Rookie of the Year?
It's
that
a real fun name to say when you are thick in a Boston accent.
Oh, I'll let Ryan go first. I think I've got a guess.
I got nobody. I don't
No
even-
ma.
No, my Garcia Para. Yeah.
Mhm.
And my boy Jose Cruz Jr., former Mariner, big time Blue Jay, was second in the running.
Okay.
Okay, so he started off in Chicago, and then he
That
was
is Obama's team, the White Sox. So.
Then he was traded to the Cincinnati Reds for Paul Konerko. Big time. Paul Konerko really made it in Chicago. That's where he really got his flowers in Chicago. Great player, great
That's where he
all-star.
thrived.
Yeah, it was a good trade. It was a good
Okay.
trade for everybody.
You get that a lot more in baseball than like other sports.
Yes.
It seems.
Yes. It's so interesting that I think it's the 160 or the 81 games they play in the park, right? The players and the fans get to understand each other a lot more. Basketball has the same kind of chemistry, but it is more businessy now, where Westbrook wants to play on every single fucking team in the NBA, apparently.
Well, that's just something
And-
I've noticed in like terms of sports. Like, I guess it's probably the math of it all.
Yeah.
That baseball's such a mathematical game.
Oh, yeah.
That like both teams kind of know what they're getting, but like very rarely in baseball, it's not that it's not there because the internet does exist.
Yeah.
But like it's just so much like quieter than football or basketball of like which team won a trade. Like
Yeah.
instantaneously when a trade happens in either basketball or football, like
Oh, big news.
both fan bases are
Yeah.
out declaring that
Rupt-
they've won
it's-
the trade.
It's
Yeah.
Vesuvius constantly. Yeah, and it's
Even
that
when,
they
like,
won the trade. Yeah, exactly.
One team's just getting draft picks, so you have like an entirely unknown entity.
Even today, Mariners fans are still debating the fucking like Dustin Ackley acquisition. Like the trades take a long time for the dust to settle for you to be like, they won that trade. But in the case of this, Cincinnati lost the fuck out of this trade, but Chicago definitely won. Paul Konerko was a great player, and if Cameron had to go to Cincinnati to get out of Chicago, so be it. He only spends 1 year in Cincinnati, I should say. Playing the whole 1999 season in Ohio.
And that's the other thing too about baseball. To like for the layman and Ryan, is that like you can be a great baseball player, but you gotta get out of the team that drafted you or the team that like you started with, because
You're gonna grow through like 2 to 3 teams. In
Yep,
baseball.
some people do. Some people do. Yeah.
Well, and
Yeah.
like sometimes history just dealt you a really bad hand. Like if you were a second baseman drafted by the New York Yankees, anytime like between the 90s and the 2010s, like you're never going to see the goddamn field unless you switch positions
Yeah.
or get traded because they have Derek Jeter at
They're
second
shortstop.
base.
Yeah.
Or yes.
Yeah, the
Number
captain.
2, I always
I
get that
got
switched
two
up.
to be. Yeah, I got you.
Their second baseman was actually Alex Rodriguez.
Third base.
Third base.
So you're 0 for 2. You're still batting 1,000 right now, Ryan, on your baseball.
Sometimes it's the pitches you don't swing at.
Second base. I couldn't tell you who was second base in the hot streak of the. It's Robinson Cano.
That's
when
right,
they had
yeah.
Jeter, Rodriguez, Robinson Cano, they all won that pity title.
But
that,
basically, yeah, like
2008,
if you get drafted behind like a all-time
Yeah.
player at your position, like you're never gonna see the
You got to
field.
switch up your position.
Yeah.
or hope you get to a new team.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
you're waiting for your star player to be injured, and you're never really
Oh
gonna
my
get
gosh! But that's
you're
cruel.
Not,
Don't
you're
bank
gonna
on
get
that.
to play,
Yeah.
but you're not gonna get a leg up
Yeah.
because there will
Unfortunately,
always be Derek Jeter
there-
at shortstop.
Mm-hmm. And especially if you're picked up by that organization, you're kind of like, well, you fucked me. Are you waiting for him to leave? Are you waiting for something to happen? Are you going to ship me off? You kind of see the writing on the wall when you, when you get picked up by a team that already has that position filled. And obviously,
Basically, if
it
you
looks
get
like it's taken
drafted
for a long time.
and your position already has an all-star player, you just have to hope that like you shine in the minors enough that you get traded to another team
Yeah.
before you get called up to the majors.
And that's the case. It's not even unreasonable that Mike Cameron spent 4 years in the minors before getting called up.
which
That's
isn't like a
big.
crazy long
No,
time.
it's not.
It's actually
The-
pretty good.
We actually just recently celebrated a guy that had like 9 years in the minors, and he finally got to pitch his first game. And that's what the movie The Kid is about, starring Dennis Quaid.
the good one.
The good
I mean,
one.
the rookie.
The Rookie, that's the one. The Kid is the Bruce Willis one.
It's the Bruce Willis one.
They're both dads in my book. You know what I'm saying? So Mike Cameron, when he's shipped off to Cincinnati, he's batting .250. So that's 1 out of every 4 times he's at the plate. He's hitting the ball, getting the ball in
good.
play.
Not bad, not
bad.
great.
Yeah.
And so on defense, he was making a name for himself as a center fielder. I mean, he had several robbed home runs from center field, hopping over the wall, stealing the ball. He was people said it under their breath,
Kids hopping over the wall.
very Griffey-esque, yeah.
Like with parent support, or just like kid just.
What are you talking about? The kid.
Not literal children.
Him.
Oh.
He is jumping over
yeah,
climbing the
sorry,
ladder,
sorry.
metaphorically, climbing the wall and stealing the home run from. He played center field, so everything usually back in center field is not stands.
Yeah.
It's
It's a fountain.
it's a stupid Miami Marlins statue that goes off when a home run happens.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So he's able to not steal a fan's ball. He will get the home run and save a run off the board. Get it out too. So he had a few web gems in Chicago I should have put on here, but I was, just searching for images. But he made his name known on the field in the following 3 seasons he spent with the Seattle Mariners. So
Hey, they're the good guys.
Hey.
so to talk about
I know that team. I like
so to
that
talk
team.
about Mike Cameron on the Seattle Mariners, we
I
have to
sadly
talk
like that
about
team.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Hey,
Our favorite boy.
I know
Um,
that Genesis game.
Dude,
That doesn't exist.
It does not. There's no Genesis game. There was 4 games for Nintendo. Nintendo owned the likeness to use Ken Griffey because Nintendo also owned the Seattle Mariners for a very long time.
yeah. Still minor owners, right? Like the dude
They
that-
are. They are in the
yeah.
minor. It was what 2015.
Yeah.
The Nintendo went from majority to minor ownership.
Yeah.
Tell me about this beautiful boy.
The kid. I mean, this is just one of the greatest players.
Sweet swing, beautiful smile.
Sweet swing, beautiful smile. Wore his
Backwards
hat
hat.
backwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't actually write a lot of notes about Ken Griffey Jr. It's not about Ken Griffey Jr. This is about Mike Cameron. and
So
his 4
cool.
home
He got a
runs.
Nike silhouette of his body.
Yeah.
You got to be really fucking cool to get that.
Yeah. The swing man too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call it. Yeah.
Jordan got the jump man. He
Yeah.
got the swing man.
Yeah. Big deal. Has his own shoes too. Has his own Nike shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like the big 3: Michael Jordan, Ken Griffey Jr., Tiger Woods. Like that's back in the 90s. That's what it was. Those were the 3. That was your Mount Rushmore, and then who'd be the 4th one?
You just
Football?
throw a Dennis Rodman in there.
You throw a Dennis in there.
I was gonna
yeah.
say football wouldn't have had one of those days because the NFL had to deal with various teams. at the
Riddle
time.
and starter and
It was Riddle starter. Then they went Reebok for a
Oh, they
decade,
did.
and now they're with Nike.
anyway.
But there was a period of time where it was just like the teams had deals. Like at one point in time, I believe the Seahawks had jerseys provided them by Puma.
in Jersey. Mm-hmm. That was anyway. Okay, so it's not about Ken Griffey Jr. It's about Mike Cameron. So here's the deets. Here's the effing deets on the trade.
Okay.
The kid, Ken Griffey Jr. has played his entire career in Seattle. what's the finer notes? There are things like did I put this in here?
First minor league game, I believe, was like up in
Oh,
Bellingham.
Griffey
Yeah.
knew that he wasn't going to play in Seattle any longer. So rather than letting his deal wear out and him becoming a free agent to sign where he wants to be, he proposed to the Mariners as like, hey, thank you for this tenured in Seattle.
Thanks for building
I
a
want-
stadium around me.
I want to leave. Yeah,
Literally.
here is the second
Yeah.
year of the stadium, second season of the stadium. I've played one whole season in the I've played a half a season in the stadium.
Yeah.
Actually, I just
Thank
mathed
you
it
for
out.
the new toys. I've been playing with them for
I'm
4
going
months.
to leave, please. Can you ship me to somewhere I love?
Yeah.
So, on February 10th, 2000, on February 10th, 2000, Ken Griffey Jr. was traded to the Cincinnati Reds for Mike Cameron, Brett Tomko, Jake Mayer, and Antonio Perez. And spoiler alert, Jake Mayer and Antonio Perez never played for the Seattle Mariners.
Wow.
They were dropped so hot after that deal was done. But Brett Tomko did play two seasons as a very bad pitcher, and I happened to be the unfortunate sap that had his baseball card, thinking this is going to be worse someday. And it was unfortunate. Mike Cameron was the only player that lasted the most, and it was only 3 seasons with the Seattle Mariners. But
Okay.
at this point in Mike's career, he was averaging about 135 games a season. There's 162 for the whole club, but you get your rest days, you get your little vacations, you get your go for injuries.
Yeah.
You heard a little something here. With the Reds, he had 139 hits, which is a very good amount of hits.
It's a good season.
21 homers, which in today's day is a very good amount. You're a power hitter. You're gonna put it out of the park. Back in this era, end of the steroids era, you're not looking so hot. You're looking like small potatoes.
Very not exciting.
He was batting 256 at the time of the trade, and his WRC plus, which is a new stat I'm not too familiar with,
Is it some
which is
Moneyball shit?
this is Moneyball shit. Yeah.
Okay.
It's runs created.
Sabermetrics.
It's run created plus. So the league average is 100, and it's based upon your era too. So the league average is about 100. That's the PH 7, right?
Wait, so you're telling me Sabermetrics has batting war and this stat?
Yes.
Weird.
So his WAR would end up being 46.7, which is
Career.
the highest career. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is the highest by anybody taken in the 18th round of the MLB
Okay.
draft.
So that means over the course of his career, he was better than he was
No.
good
He
for
was-
46 wins over just the dead average at his position.
That's WAR. That's wins against replacement.
Oh,
WRC plus is how many runs you've created apparent to the
wait. So
league
his
average.
WRC plus was 46, not his WAR.
Yes.
Okay.
His WAR, I think it's like a half or one. It gets to be weird.
No.
So his
I'm trying to
WRC
keep up.
plus was 46.7 in his career, which just means just under half of the league average, which is better than a lot of players. I think
Yeah.
the highest ever recorded is it's 2. What I'd say, yeah,
So
like
it's
200 was the highest.
This plays
ever
in
recorded.
slugging percentage.
Yeah, a
as
little
well.
bit. Yeah,
This is similar metric.
I don't want to get into the Sabres because I don't understand many of the stats.
Yeah.
But he was punching way
But-
above his value.
He
Or
was a very
perceived.
good pickup. If you're going to get rid of your star, if you're going to get rid of the thing that puts butts in seats, the man that you built a house around.
Arguably the greatest player in your franchise's history.
So
Yeah.
far, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a
There's
At
a
the
case
time-
we made for
at
Ichiro Suzuki, but
at the time he was not what the people wanted, but it's what the people got.
Yeah.
So with
big
that,
shoes to fill.
With that, we have to talk about where he landed. Seattle. The Seattle Mariners. Seattle was founded in 1977. So I don't want to go really into the Seattle franchise history. We had the Seattle Pilots that
save
were
that
19.
for another
That's a whole
night.
other episode. Seattle was coming off some gut-wrenching news that they had parted with their once-generational talent for the second time in a few years. Randy Johnson had just been traded in 1997 to the Houston Astros. Ends up winning Cy Young. He won a Cy Young with the Mariners. He ends up winning 1,000 more with several other teams. But who's the big unit.
For the layman, Cy Young is best pitcher
Oh,
in
best
your
pitcher.
league.
Yeah.
There's 2 Cy Youngs every year, one for the American League, one for the National League.
Okay. So when I hear of somebody winning the Cy Young Award, there's also another award that's awarded that year.
There's 2 of them in
There's
every
two
year.
Cy Youngs a year. Yeah.
There was a brief. Speaking of Mariners, there was. Well, I believe when we got Cliff Lee, we had 2 Cy Youngs
Yeah.
together at the same time.
Yeah.
Is Cy Young like a voted upon? You're the best pitcher.
By
By
the
somebody.
Baseball Writers
Yeah.
Association.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like decided by stats.
It mostly is, but there is a bit of a human factor.
Okay.
So on the right side, you'll see Alex Rodriguez.
Boom.
Big boo.
Tremendous
Like a big forgotten history point in the long.
I don't know baseball, but I know to boo him
Yeah.
at the Seattle game.
Big time boo. Alex Rodriguez started in the Seattle Mariners franchise and got himself a name. He was our first 2020 hitter, which was 20 home runs, which is what so I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm actually getting my heart's racing. 20 home runs and 20 steals in a single season.
Okay.
That is a fun stat for young players can achieve it because young players steal the base, right?
Yeah.
I mean fast players, but usually you have to have a lot of gusto to get there fast.
The game hasn't worn you down, nor has
Yeah,
age
you're not
in
making
general.
business calls
Yeah.
anymore about stealing a base. And then home runs, it shows you have power too. You're fast and you have power. So A-Rod was our shortstop. That was our shortstop. And at the end of this season, at the end of the 2000 season, the Mariners will trade Alex Rodriguez off too. No, he'll sign with the Texas Rangers for $253 million, the highest paid player at the time. And I remember that number so specifically because I had tickets to his first game back as a Texas Ranger in Seattle in the house. Him, Jay Buhner, and Ken Griffey Jr. built. And someone had a poster that said...
Edgar played his part.
Edgar. I'm so sorry, Edgar. Edgar, pardon. If you're listening to this, Edgar, oh my God.
Hey, what's up, man?
There's a guy that had to sign this at $253 for an a-hole. I thought that was the most hilarious.
Remember that
poster.
old MasterCard,
Yeah.
advertising
the price
campaign,
list, yeah.
where it was
What?
like, if it's like a baseball game, you're like
it's
hot
like
dog $6, beer $7.
What's priceless?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the final
Yeah.
thing is always priceless.
What's priceless is Alex Rodriguez striking out for the Mariners to 116 wins. That's what's priceless.
Woof.
Yeah, big. That's what he did. He woofed. Okay, so I think that's it for this slide. But these are two Hall of Fame players. I mean,
Gods of baseball.
Randy Johnson is in the Hall of Fame. He went as an Arizona Diamondback where he won his first World Series. Alex Rodriguez is notably going to be the first player that has taken HGH or steroids to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Yeah, everybody loves him. He had in the terms of wrestling, he had a heel turn or a face turn. That was so incredible. He went from being suspended for a year and a half for his use of human growth hormones.
He was part of like a huge scandal.
Huge
that, like,
bust.
rocked not
Oh
just.
yeah, no, I remember hearing about it just
Yeah.
in a general.
Oh, yeah, and
news.
a
It wasn't
huge, like,
it wasn't
daily
just like
news thing.
baseball. Like it impacted the other big 4 American sports as well.
Um,
Because it was like he was kind of the first one to get caught with HGH, which was the new steroids.
Yes.
Wasn't he the tip of the iceberg that blew up like the fucking Lance Armstrong steroids?
I don't know about his involvement
Everything
in the Lance
coming out
Armstrong
like
steroids.
it was kind of like another big wave of like sports people admit they've been juicing.
Here's another story.
Lance Armstrong's was a little bit different. He was using performance-enhancing drugs, but Lance Armstrong got caught doing something called blood doping, which is like where you
Whoa!
like
can
get
I
a
get
blood
in on
trans
that dog?
where you get like a
Are
blood
we sure he's
transfusion.
not a Dracula?
Yeah, I mean,
it
I've
sound-
never seen him in a mirror, so
I know it sounds like a vampire crime, but basically what it is like
Vampire crimes. Oh, my mind's racing right now. I want a new CW
I
show.
want to play that D&D campaign.
what it is like you're basically diluting your blood with like drug infused blood so that like it doesn't register in a drug test.
Oh,
that's
that's
wild.
mischievous.
Yeah.
That's a fucking future crime.
That is a future crime.
It was a real
I trend-
vampire future crime.
I mean, if you were
vampire future crime new disco
if
band.
you were avoiding James Bond, you'd transfer your blood with clean blood.
I would. I at least keep a vial on me.
But this was a normal man who just raced
Well.
bicycles.
This is a man who made an insane amount of money just riding a bike.
And selling silicone bracelets.
Very much so. Yeah.
That was his true crime.
The craziest thing is he supposedly wasn't making money off those bracelets.
I think Nike was.
Well, it was charity.
The
I
silicone
think
company.
Nike was
Yeah,
making
yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of.
yeah.
You know, it's the one who sells the shovels.
In an
It's the
ideal,
one who sells the silicone molding is the one
Yeah.
who makes the money.
yeah. If you run a silicon molding factory, congratulations.
Okay, so I brought up these guys to talk about the misery, just to shine a small light on the misery of being a Mariners
How many
fan.
shadows are upon Mike Cameron at
You wanna,
this point?
This isn't even like just the misery of a Mariners fan. This is like the misery of being a millennial Mariners fan.
Wait, okay, buddy? Because on our next slide is this new ad campaign from DirecTV.
God damn it!
All 4 of these men played for the
I
Seattle
hate this.
Mariners.
I hate
What?
this.
Yeah.
I hate this.
As Ghostbuster?
Yeah.
Like, hey,
They're
playing
called.
off what
They're
their role.
you know that the DirecTV has like this thing where they're like switching between sports and a movie, and then they just mush the two together in a commercial. Goat Busters. These are the goats of baseball. Every single one of them has played for the Seattle Mariners, although David Arias never played as a Seattle Mariner. I think he
Number
no,
13, David Arias?
No.
That's Alex Rodriguez,
34.
post HGH. Number 34, David Arias. He played for the organization. That's how I should phrase this. He was drafted by the Mariners, played for them for 4
Ryan,
years.
you would know him better as David Ortiz.
Big
Pop.
Pop.
I only know him from the Saturday Night Live
Yeah,
sketches.
hi, Big Pop.
Played by Keenan Thompson.
Yes.
And unfortunately, every time I see this commercial come up in a social media group, inevitably the top comment is always someone like, "God, it's crazy the Mariners had 3 of those 4 players and never won a World Series." And then the reply guys come swooping in, and my heart drops a little bit. It's like, nope, actually Ortiz played for him too.
At that same time, from 92 to 96. So
He was in the minor league system.
So
at that time.
the team that took us to our first playoffs could have been on the screen right here.
They're between the 4 of them. Griffey's got 0. He's got 1 ring. He's got 3 rings.
This is the audio medium.
Yeah, sorry.
Randy has 3, I think.
He has 3 rings.
San Francisco, New York Yankees, and with Arizona. Yeah,
Really, Randy?
Randy went to the Yankees?
he was a sinner. He went to the Yankees. I know. He didn't repent either. So
2 planes wasn't enough.
So I guess yeah.
yes, he won one. I believe he won with the Yankees. Keep
Probably in the
filibustering.
twilight of his career.
I'll
there.
keep filibustering. I'll go look this
Yeah.
up.
So Johnson has a number of rings. I know at least 1 from his time in Arizona.
Yeah.
David Ortiz, I know, has 3 with his time at Boston. And then Jeter fucking Rodriguez, J-Rod, J-Rad, has at least 3 as well from his time with the Yankees. And I mean, mostly it was when they were David Ortiz and Alex Rodriguez's teams were just dueling it out in the 2000s.
Oh shit, he's only a one-time World Series champion.
For Johnson?
Yeah, just
Yeah,
2001.
okay, with Arizona.
Oh
yeah.
shit! It must be his 5 Cy Youngs. I was thinking he won with other teams. Yeah,
Yeah, just a small little accomplishment. there.
95 with the Mariners, and then he won 4 straight. 99 to 2002, he won Cy Young awards. Ken Griffey Jr. was a home run champion. Had 56 home runs one year.
Yeah.
Twice, no, back to back. That's right. Because I just remember hearing Blowers recently on the Mariners broadcast talking about how the pressure in the locker room for Griffey was like, "How are you gonna follow 56 home runs?" And he's like, "I'm gonna do it again."
I'm not juicing.
And then Ortiz,
It's a miracle I did this.
Ortiz, postseason giant. I think he has 3, I believe, with the Red Sox over the course of breaking the curse.
Yeah, it'd be like, what, 04, like 2, and then 2 in the 2010s.
And of course, this is the only way we measure sports is how many times they've won the big game. It's the only
Well,
stat that matters, apparently.
as a
to-
Mariners fan, I visualize
For the
it that
loathing?
way because
For the loathing,
the team I
3-time,
love so much
3-time
has 0.
David Ortiz, 3-time
Yeah.
World Series MVP 2013, but also named Mr. October because that's when they play the postseason.
Yeah.
Because he was such a doe-eyed rookie when he first debuted in the postseason, and they ended up winning the World Series, and it was the most incredible comeback story, and everybody was a Boston Red Sox fan for one whole year until they never stopped winning.
Yeah.
And
Everyone was a Boston Red Sox fan because they play in the same division as the New York
is this
Yankees.
like the fever pitch year?
yes,
Yes, it
it's
is.
exactly the
It
fever
is
pitch.
exactly
And you know about that,
what
right?
it is.
That they had to
I'm a movie fan.
they,
Of course I know.
they had to
about
go
it.
back and film again,
Yeah.
refilm the ending because turns
There's
out the
no
Red Sox
way the Red
there's
Sox
no
are going to
way-
beat the Yankees in the ALCS.
There's no way that the year we make a movie about being a miserable Red Sox fan that they're going to actually do something about
And
it.
it turns around, and then you get a couple decades of prosperity.
And then to finalize it, Alex Rodriguez 2009 won World Series.
Just one.
Just one World Series win.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, guy finally made it and then he had to he was suspended for 2 years, that's right. It doesn't even show here. It just says he played for the New York Yankees from 2004 to 2013 and then from 2015 to 2016. I wonder what that 2-year gap was about.
I did get to. I've attended significantly less Mariners games in my lifetime than you
Totally.
have. But I did get to attend the Yankees, and I believe their first series back after A-Rod was reinstated. And,
Oh, great.
It was great to see the booze rain down for a whole different reason.
Dude, I wish
in
I
Seattle.
wish Seattle sometimes was a little bit more trash and would just like throw shit onto the field
Yeah,
kind of thing.
absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
go full trash.
It gave us a villain to hate.
Oh, and he's been such a good villain.
And
Because just when
and
he left
joined
us,
the fucking Empire.
when
you know?
when he left us for his fat paycheck, when he Anakined to the Empire, and we had to be like, at least he never won. But then
Yeah.
he goes to the evilest Empire, and then he wins. Oh my god! But he never climbed the mountain after he played. He was instated with the Yankees for 7 more seasons.
Yeah.
Didn't get to play 2 of them. Then never went back. Never won.
Also, I'm just gonna say, I'm looking forward to the day that nobody can guess what my costume is as I'm Griffey and as a Ghostbuster.
Dude, I will never shame Beer Gut Griffey.
I'm Beer Gut Griffey and a Ghostbuster.
Hey man, he's earned it.
Yeah, he's earned it. Okay, so on to the next slide. Because even though there's so much misery in baseball, there is some shining light as to being a Mariners fan, and that is this. This is one of the greatest images of all time, taken in Seattle. It is the celebration.
The last
of,
moment of happiness.
This is when we won the AL West. This is not the 116th game.
Oh, okay.
This is post 9/11. We finally clocked in. We finally clocked in the AL West because the Rangers were still on our tail. This was not 116 wins. Yeah, but I think the Rangers still ended up with 107.
Oh, they were coming in close.
It was a hot division. So this, my notes. Oh, this is when the Seattle Mariners were on their way to finally the postseason again after
4 years off?
4 years off.
Mm-hmm.
4 years off. So what are my notes on this? Soak it in. This is the greatest image for the this is the last greatest image of Seattle Mariners for the next 20 years.
I
I
mean,
mean-
there's some good thing, like a few good things that happened.
But I mean,
yeah.
you're talking about that based on the
I guess
faces we see.
2015 might be the only exception
Yeah.
when Felix Hernandez pitches a perfect game.
Yes.
Which is a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
What do I have? This is the season. This is the 2001 season. This is Mike Cameron's second season with the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners win 116 wins to put them at number 1 tied. So there's an asterisk there
Yes.
with the 1906
Yeah.
Chicago Cubs.
For
And
most
it
wins
is
in a single
still
season.
a feat held till this day. The Seattle Mariners are asterisk have
Number
the most
one?
wins. Number 1, yeah. The Mariners somehow formed the greatest team to ever exist in the game of baseball, and it was done with no big market star. Literally no big market star. Alex Rodriguez is not on this team. Ichiro had just come into the league, so we have a huge Japanese team, Japanese audience, but that doesn't mean anything in the United States
Well,
yet.
because Ichiro wasn't Ichiro yet. He was.
Ichiro was
becoming
Ichiro.
I mean, he was
Ichiro.
becoming
So-
Ichiro. He
Yeah,
won,
yeah.
look, he
Oh,
won,
he was famous in Japanese.
The
like, brought
Caucasians did not know what Ichiro was.
The MLB wasn't being like, "Hey, Ichiro."
This is the year Ichiro took the Triple Crown. He was the MVP, the Rookie of the Year, and the name a third thing.
And was a fucking superstar.
Hank
after.
Aaron Award? No, that wouldn't be
not.
Hank Aaron Award. Because Ichiro, though he could hit with power, since he was the leadoff hitter, he would just swing to get on base.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was which is an option in MLB The Show. I don't know if
This
you know
is
that.
what
Yeah,
I love
contact
about
swing.
Contact swing.
baseball.
Yeah.
It's kind of like chess in a weird way. In,
We
in,
could get-
in a weird way
there's
that,
a-
that football is, that basketball is. It's that
Football
kind-
is war of achievement of little movements to
but
get
it's
achieve your goal.
it's how are you gonna position yourself?
Baseball is chess, exactly, and it's exactly that because we can go into a whole episode about pitching and getting ahead in the pitch count and how that psychologically affects the pitcher and why a first pitch ball on a no swing is it's like so much more leverage for a batter than a first pitch swing strike. The pitcher has all the power now. All of these things, the Seattle Mariners accomplished all of that in one season, 116 wins. Mike Cameron contributed 99 runs.
Damn.
So he touched home 99 times, and then he contributed 110 RBIs, which is a very good season. It's a very good season for a baseball player.
Runs batted in.
Runs batted
Yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
I love the American flag in this picture because we are less than a month removed from
Yep.
the two tall boys coming down,
And I promise you,
and so everyone's so goddamn patriotic.
yeah, red, white, and blue.
And this is also like a later end to
I mean,
the MLB
look at that
season.
crowd.
Yeah,
We got.
They were suspended for about 2 weeks.
Yep. So this is like in October.
Yeah,
When this picture is taken. Like normally postseason baseball is happening at
Yeah.
this point, but because there was no flying in the United States for a 2-week period, there just
games
wasn't
were
any
suspended
sport
for a while.
other than the
Oh.
World Wrestling Federation, the first like sporting event to go
Yeah.
on post 9/11.
Wow, balls of steel. WWF at the time.
Yep.
So I promise you that if 9/11 hadn't happened, we would have won. I could have stopped 9/11. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna go to
Oh,
the
yeah,
Mark
Mark
Wahlberg.
Wahlberg.
We would have won. We would have won 117, 118 games
Wow.
had 9/11 not happened. But you know what?
A lot of rhythm gets robbed away.
Yeah, when you take 2 weeks away from them, like, oh wow, how do I play baseball? To wrap up the slide, this was the pinnacle of the regular season, and the postseason does not deliver the gold. We don't. Spoiler alert, Ryan.
Doesn't deliver much.
We don't go to the World Series.
We don't even go.
Oh,
to
I
the,
know
We don't
this.
even go to the.
Ain't never
the
been
thing
to the
before.
dance. Yeah, we do.
We made it to the
Wait.
ALCS that year. I thought we got
Yeah.
out in the
I mean,
division
remind
series.
me. We've never been to the dance.
We've never been. We're the only team that has never been to the World Series.
Ever. Yeah.
We'll
until
get that.
until they add
Look at
teams
these,
to
look
the
at
ML.
these.
Until they make it a
people
4-team competition.
Yeah.
Look at these people happy for all the real estate in downtown New York now. They don't know it yet.
So Mike won his first of 3 Gold Gloves in 2001.
Yes.
A feat not many players have. A lot of people don't have even 1 Gold Glove, but he has 3
It's a hard
now.
thing to do.
So then that leads us into what is the reason we've been here recording. May 2nd, 2002 at Kaminsky Park. The second in Chicago, Illinois.
So season after the
So you did lie to me
116
earlier
wins.
on. I was wrong, but you did lie to me.
I did
Kaminsky
lie to you.
Park does matter in this
It
story.
does matter in this story, yeah.
I was thinking like 40
when you
years
saw
ahead
the
of
word
time.
Chicago, yeah, of course, Kaminsky Park is.
I mean,
a part of
Wrigley also has a lot of importance in Chicago, but
it. Okay, so May 2nd. May 2nd, on the south side of Chicago, the 19-9 Seattle Mariners were visiting the 17-11 Chicago White Sox in a night game at Kaminsky Park. The second. If you remember, the Chicago White Sox are the organization that traded Mike Cameron to Cincinnati for Paul Konerko just a few years ago. Now they've gotten to see him blossom in Seattle. He became a full player.
Seattle's the
kid that
supportive
taught-
stepdad.
Exactly.
This is the dad. Chicago's the dad that went out for a pack of smokes on Mike.
Oh, Chicago was the dad that left his mom.
Yeah.
And then his mom found Seattle. And Seattle gave him a nice home and a nice
She messed
warm
with some
meal.
bad
And also
she
allowed
messed
him
with-
to fight his dad.
She had a rebound with a guy like Cincinnati, but then she settled down. She found
She
herself.
found Seattle.
And she went to Seattle.
Also, can we bring up, it's top of the third, 10-0.
Yeah.
Sorry for the spoiler alert.
Mariners,
I thought I had shaved that
10-0.
part off with this. I used a couple different stills from the highlight reel.
And we have Mike Cameron looking like he's like facing down fucking Darth fucking Vader.
He is.
And so this would be because
He
if
is
I'm not
determined
mistaken,
to kick some ass tonight.
typically hit 4th in the order. Fourth or
I'm
fifth?
gonna get to this.
Okay.
We're gonna get to the
Sorry.
order. Going into this game, Mike Cameron is hitting 271, just above his career average.
Yeah.
Not good, not great, not bad.
It's
Not superstar, not
It's-
terrible.
you're not
it's-
getting sent
it's-
down to the minors on it.
Yeah.
It's good. So what's the metric of 200? Like, what is that called?
Oh my god, 200 sucks.
It's the line. Like, it's the someone's name line.
Oh, the Mendoza line.
The Mendoza line. Basically, like, you need to start worrying if your
Yeah.
batting average drops below
Okay.
the Mendoza line. I don't know the poor soul named Mendoza who unfortunately got
Yeah.
this named after him. But basically, like, that's kind of where it's like, you got to get your shit together soon or you're going to be playing in our AAA affiliate for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
fire under your ass. 271. You're just
You're
shy of.
above that.
You're a tick away from 300. You're a two-hit game away from 300. You know,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Which is
couple times.
Which is
yeah.
that difference between 270 and 300. It's like you're doing good. You're doing good, kid. You're doing fantastic.
Anything below 250 in my book, you gotta just start being really good at defense. You gotta have
Yeah.
some web gems. You gotta have some good.
You
catches.
gotta bring something else to the
If you fuck up at 250 in the outfield, I'm gonna start thinking about it. I
You're
might
gonna
start
look
thinking
for
about it.
other options.
I might start having a
You're
conversation
gonna
or something.
say who's on that fucking snake team.
Who's
down
in Tacoma
Arizona
that, like-
Yeah.
that isn't gonna amount to anything.
That-
Who's either in Seattle or
LC-15 is-
Tacoma that could maybe step in?
He's thinking. Ryan's talking about a trading
Oh, yeah.
out your generational talent for some. I couldn't even
Oh,
tell you
new
who Randy
team,
Johnson
new
was.
money, you know?
So Mike Cameron's batting 271 in a very fresh season. This is a month into the season,
Okay.
right? I told you the Mariners were 19-9. That's 28 games.
Okay.
28 games you play almost every day. That's just over a month into the season.
And not anywhere near like the average clip the Mariners would be obtaining
Right.
that season. Like
Right.
they're over 500 at 19-9. They're running like what 750 at that point, basically.
You know,
They're
As opposed to
doing
yeah,
500.
good.
real close to 750
Yeah.
because it's off odd numbers. It's not 750, but yeah, really
Yeah.
close to that. But he is coming off a 2-19 streak in the last series. Oh, 2 hits over the 19 at bats.
Not great.
Ooh, duh.
All right, so that's going to bring us into the first inning.
If you're playing MLB The Show, there's a snowflake icon next to Mike
Yeah.
Cameron's name to show that he's cooling down.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the first at bat.
Tough the first. He's the first one out.
No, if you look at the score.
Oh, 2-0.
So the first inning, with 12,891 people in attendance, Ichiro Suzuki gets on base, as the man has done his entire career. That's his thing. That's what we paid him for. That's what brought him here. Next up to bat is the one and only Brett Boone, second baseman for the Seattle Mariners, and he goes ahead and kicks things off with a home run.
2 boys, 0 outs.
Brett Boone, who may or may not have been on
Brett Boone,
performance-enhancing
how the
drugs
hell?
at the
Put it
time.
on the poll. Yes, Brett Boone may have been juicing during this and the last season, but
He didn't have a neck in this season, so he was just all traps.
so Mike is up against pitcher John Rauch. I think Rauch. Pronounce that how you want.
Roush.
I'm gonna say Roush. Okay.
Yeah.
Who has so far given up a home run for 2 runs to kick the game off. So things are not looking good for old Roush. From Cam's perspective, this is one of his first games back in Chicago. I think the Mariners played them. Handed their ass to them in the 2001 season. Probably for 8 games, probably for 6 games. So this is his second time coming back to Chicago,
Okay.
saying, "Hey, buddy, look at me."
Yeah, I wouldn't have played him a lot in Cincinnati because that's their National League
Yeah.
team. They play other teams.
Even if he was there in that first time around, you're trying to show yourself off
Yeah.
again. Like,
Yeah,
no,
and that's
you
the
guys
thing-
got rid of me.
That's the thing about the trades that we talk about. When do you finalize that the trade was a win for this team or a loss for this team? It's depending on how the player plays against them. You can either go out there and rake. You can have a hell of a day. Mike Trout does that shit against the Mariners every time. It's not like he's a former Mariner, but it's just like when he's got our number every time.
Yeah.
But or you can go out there and be a dud and show everybody like, yeah, it was good news to get you out of town, buddy. So that's what he's up against. So Cameron ends up getting behind in the count. As we can see, it's a 1-2 count. He has 1 ball, 2 strikes. I'm not a coach, but if I were in this position, I would say go for it, swing for it. You're gonna strike out or you're gonna ground out? What's the worst? Make some contact and get on base.
We got no outs. The bases are loaded. If you go out,
You're
we
already
got
up
2 more
2.
chances to get some of
Yeah.
those boys in.
And
We've had a very explosive start.
and I don't know what the previous game was, but the game of baseball can be you win it by 1 run in a 1-0 game, or you can win it by 1 in a 27 to 26 game. Anything can happen. So, but in this case, you're already up big. Go for it. Go for swing. So Cam launches the ball, and he hits it to dead center right there. You can see the guy go up. I tried to screenshot it perfectly so
He
you can
hit
see the
it.
ball.
He hit it perfect, like 400 feet
Yeah.
past the wall. We have a
Yep.
man's
Probably
spider-
403, 404 feet. I would
We
say,
appear
yeah.
to have a glitch in the game where the player is standing about 3.5 feet higher than they should up against the wall.
Yeah.
He's not quite Spider-Manning. He's doing a poor man's Ken Griffey Jr. at this point. And then to touch on an earlier point, so if I'm doing my math correctly, Mike Cameron is 6 in the batting order then,
Third.
given the information that's on the screen here.
How would you get 6?
Well, it's the top of the first.
Yep.
We have 4 men on base.
How do you say it? No, yellow would indicate they're on base.
Oh, okay. So he's soloing.
He's soloing,
right now.
yeah.
Okay.
This is a solo venture.
Okay.
Yeah, I get how you would say that. Yeah, it looks like they're illuminated for. If it was Am's absent of a light, it would be.
So
yeah.
Ichiro, Boone, they're off the
Cameron's up.
field.
Yep.
Now Cameron's okay hitting. third.
Yeah. So then that gets us to his second at bat. You guys ready for it?
Yeah.
If you'll notice, this is also
he
the
got
first
a home
inning.
run. His first.
Yeah, he got a
at-bat.
home run at first at bat.
Almost to the exact same spot too, and the 400 that's on the wall there is indicating like where that ball is going when he hit it.
Yeah.
Which is this is a like center field
Dead
home run,
center.
Dead center.
which is very difficult to do. That
Very
means you had to
difficult.
hit it the farthest, so you had to have both like the perfect launch angle and hit it with the exact right velocity to give it to travel that far. It's much easier for a ball to travel 325 feet at one of the edges, particularly the one that you favor, than it is dead center in the middle of
all
the
of my
field.
notes. Absolutely all of my notes. Yes.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, that saves us so much time. So I just want to point out it is still the first inning.
Yeah, this is his second trip up to the back.
Second trip up. It's the first
We're
inning.
9-0. Chicago
There are-
is currently.
There are
burning.
2 outs, and it's a 3-2 pitch, and that's always a green light for me. I always
Oh,
go
yeah.
3-2. If no one's on base, you're up 9-0.
Yeah.
Do your worst.
Fucking pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
bud.
So as a batter going up to the batter's box, you kind of everybody in their head just like, wouldn't it be fucking hilarious if I hit another home run? It's everyone's thought. It's everyone's little league thought. It's like, what is the craziest thing that could happen right now? I do it again.
Like
In the same inning.
And Mike Cameron fucking does it again. I told you about Fernando Tatis. He hit 2 grand slams in the same inning. Little league dreams. Little league dreams. Absolutely. So this one is off of Jim Parg. P-A-R-G.
So that
so they changed the pitcher.
yes.
You can only take
somewhere
so
in
many runs.
between.
Do you know how nine runs in a single inning damages an ERA, Ryan? That is detrimental to that
How many
man's
teams-
mental health.
Have they only? Is this the second guy at 9 runs?
Oh, to my knowledge, yeah, it's only the second guy. It is, it is the second. I looked at the box score.
It's not
Yeah,
like they
for-
rotated
This is
everybody.
the first
and
relief
here we
pitcher.
are.
No, it's not like they had another pitcher come in between those 6
Between
other
2
runs.
and 9.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is at least what a competent franchise does: is you get that guy out of there.
Yeah, he's obviously having a time, and all you can do is damage control now.
This-
Hope your offense comes back and says hello.
And I say competent franchise because I certainly remember one Taiwan Walker who was just like there. I just remember looking at the television. I don't watch baseball very often on TV, but I did this game, and it's just like he's bleeding. They've massacred my boy. There's like 8 runs that have gone up in the first inning,
Yeah.
and the Mariners are just like he's a young
Figure
rookie.
it
Like,
out, buddy.
he's gotta learn this pain in the majors. It'll harden him.
If he doesn't succeed, he'll never learn.
I'm pretty sure it's some Lloyd McClendon shit at the time, and it's just like it was brutal. It's like please just like throw in the towel.
So in this Mike Cameron hits 4 home runs game. This is his second home run. And
I mean, you're on a great pace when it's still the first inning, and you've got 2.
And I want to tell you that yes, with his second home run, the man that was up before him was Brett Boone. Brett Boone had also hit a home run.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only case in baseball history where teammates have gone back-to-back home runs twice in a single inning.
Really?
Yeah, which is such a fine stat, like a very narrow, like back-to-back home runs. Okay, also in a single inning. Oh wow, that's incredibly narrow. Where did the opportunities for that ever exist?
It's one
Brett
of those
Boone and Mike
very
Cameron.
sports do that, like where it's like this guy has the most rushing yards on a
Yeah.
72-degree day
Yeah.
in September,
Yeah.
and it's like okay,
In fact,
cool.
the Mariners have the greatest stat team of all time. Adam Goldsmith, he announced for the team, and he's on a text chain with one of their stat people. There's this player that just debuted the other day. He took a walk, and then he stole a base. And the statistician texted him like, "Do you guys want me to stay up all night to figure out when's the last time somebody walked and then
Yeah.
stole a base on their first at bat? Because I can do that for you."
In their debut game.
In their debut game,
Yeah.
it's such narrow find. Like that's how you cement yourself in the game of baseball
Oh,
is
yeah.
to have the amount of randomness that the game provides you and be the one to do that.
And
first.
if you have like that top tier like stats department, they can get it up. They can get that answer to you quick enough that you can put it up on the Chiron when you like
Oh.
bring the camera
Yeah.
over to the player on first base or
Again,
second base.
It's a thing I love about baseball.
Yeah.
Everyone can be a superstar with their weird fucking stats.
And that's
and
what
their
makes
own,
it.
That's
their
sports
own
in
little
general.
foothold. Yeah, but I mean, you can do it with any sports, but baseball, it's ingrained, you know?
Yeah, it's a part of the culture.
It's a
is
game
those
that's
fine
sold.
tunes.
You think that everything that can happen has happened.
Yeah.
All right, so that brings us to third at bat. Surprise! It's a home run. So there are 2 outs in this inning, and it is
0-1.
and it is a 1 strike. It's a second pitch of
Chicago stopped the bleeding a little bit because at least it's the third inning.
He
so.
did not get to bat in the second inning,
Yeah.
yes, but this is his third at bat in 3 innings, and that is also pretty bad news. Especially when you go up there and you hit a freaking dinger, huh?
Yeah.
This went out to left field, which is accurate for him being a right-handed batter.
Yeah. As you can see, left field is mostly vacated.
Yes.
Except
I would
one-
imagine most of Kaminsky Park is.
Yeah, I
is
told you it was
about
only
like this.
12,000 people in a stadium of like 30, I want to say,
Okay,
35.
Okay. But we're looking at this field, and all I can see is the guy in the black sweatshirt just, like, excited that a ball landed near him.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a pretty poor turnout for a Thursday night, particularly in this era of baseball. Like, 'cause, I mean, Thursday night game always to me seems like it's
pre-weekend
It's not
game?
a Friday or a Saturday night game, but it's a Thursday night game. That's the game where you go out with your buddies, you slug some beers, and you call in sick the next day. You
Yeah.
start the weekend early.
Yeah.
And so even like there's just no enthusiasm there in Chicago either to start, and now definitely not in the third.
And as you've played the show, have you ever batted 3 times in 3 innings?
Yeah, I've been lucky enough, even as like just an individual player. Definitely when I've played like franchise mode,
Yeah.
where I'm in control of every guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've made that happen before.
It's still a challenging thing. So now
It is.
Now the score is 10-0.
Okay.
And you have to believe everyone's given the green light to swing. I mean, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? We just get 3 quick outs, and then what we have to go play defense again. We're up 10-0.
Yeah.
How
your pitching
what's-
staff has a 10-run cushion.
Yeah,
now.
yeah. They could underhand it, and it would still end up being a good game. So no one actually really knew that this was going to end up being a 4 home run game. So keep swinging. What's the worst that's going to happen? This one gets roped out to right field, or out to left field, I should say. At this point, it's become the 11th Mariner to have 3 home run game in the history of the franchise. 3 home runs in a single game.
Which would be 31 years or 30. 4 years at this point?
Yeah.
6. This is 2002 and started in
Or
77.
wait, no, 24 years? Yeah, 24 years.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so now he's flirting with 4 home runs, right?
Which is Cameron's number.
Oh my god. Which
What?
is 8, which is what 1205 equals. Anyway, so he's flirting with 4 home runs, and at this point, only 13 other players have ever done this. In the history of the game, I think at this point too, only like 18 players have done a perfect game, something around that low number. So less people have had 4 home runs in a game than people have had perfect games. A novel moment in baseball history is about to occur, and he still has 5 innings to do it. This is the 3rd inning. He has, well, technically 9 more innings, I guess at this point. I wrote that wrong. He has
He has a guaranteed
6 more innings.
Even if Chicago got its shit absolutely right, he still has at least guaranteed 2 more chances
At bat.
at bat. this game.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you
'Cause
think happens?
He get to bat again in the 6th and again in the 9th.
Yep. So he has 2 more guaranteed at bats. And let's go ahead and see what plate appearance number 4 brings us. It's a fucking home run. Back to where it all began, at that 400 marker. 3 home runs within like 7 feet of each other,
Yep.
right? This one is against also against Mike Parg, I believe.
They just gave up.
Yeah, same guy's pitching. It's like a backup starter, I guess you should say. He gets the he gets ahead in the pitch count. 2 balls, 1 strike. Parg has given him 2 out of the 3 home runs already. So I mean, obviously he has his number dialed in. He's ready. He knows what his pitch is going to be. He knows where it's going to be. He knows the velocity. Knows it. He just knows it. He's dialed the fuck in. And in the 5th inning, Mike Cameron solidified his name in history to become the 14th man to hit 4 home runs in a single season game. This one dead to center. Only 13 other men had done that, and there he is.
And if I'm not mistaken, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong here. And I've been holding on to this one.
Yeah.
He's currently also, if you're looking at the record for most home runs in a single game, there would be.
Did you look at all my notes?
No, I just know this. I
Okay.
just know this fact. It would be a list of, I believe it's now more than 14 gentlemen.
Yeah.
But you would just see number 1, and then everyone who's hit 4 home runs in one single game.
What are you getting at? No one's hit 5 home runs?
To my knowledge, no one's hit 5 home runs in a single game.
We might just get there. And the thing I appreciate about this is, and appreciate about the game of baseball, is if you go on YouTube and watch this reception of him rounding home plate, touching that final plate, everyone is standing in ovation for this man. An away team. That's right. This part of the broadcast didn't have, it wasn't showing the score. It's a blowout. Chicago White Sox have no chance. But that everyone in that stadium, all 12,000 souls, all
Probably
agreed.
3,000 at this
Yeah,
point.
probably 3,000. All agreed that this is a monumental moment in baseball history. That you're witnessing something that never occurs.
This is where you separated the White Sox fans from the baseball fans.
And
in terms of who's in the stands at that point.
And so in 2001, when things began to open up, I went to a Mariners game with my dad and my uncle. One of the last games I've been to with my uncle. I got to change that. Got to get him to another game. Or no, just my dad. And the dudes in front of me, I started like cheering on the Baltimore pitcher, John Means, because I knew this was a no-hitter. This guy was bidding a no-hitter. A Mariner had gotten on base by the swing strikeout that didn't end up being an out.
Wild pitch.
But John Means was pitching a no-hitter, and at the end of the game, Mariners struck out. It was a no-hitter. Everybody that was a baseball fan stood and cheered for this man, for his accomplishment, the way he was able to climb that hill. And everybody in the Chicago stands, the camera pans wide. Everybody is cheering Mike Cameron, a former Chicago White Sox, for his accomplishment that he's done in the game of baseball. Incredible. An incredible sign of sportsmanship from, let's say that's getting blown that
Did he get the classic like celebration as he got to home? The whole Mariners team is waiting for him there.
That's the first. Oh yeah, waiting for him there.
The White Sox are standing outside their dugout.
I didn't get to see that far. No, and this was really hard to find footage because offensive feats are very hard to praise in baseball. You'll find a cycle. I guess that's something I should have put in the earlier slides. When you hit every bag, you have a home run, a single, a double, and a triple, all in the same game. It's quite the accomplishment.
Everything you
do
can.
everything. Those are easy to find on the internet, but you'll still only get the highlights. You won't get the full game. You won't get to see the whole context of the game. Same with this. I was hard to find even different uploads of this game happening, of the highlights of this. But it's such an incredible feat for someone to do in baseball. So then that leads you to, there are 4 more innings left. And you know what's better than 4 home runs?
Is it 5?
5 home runs is way better. I forgot to put this slide in here. As a coach, you might take the player out. He's already crushed gold,
Yeah.
He's got his name.
And on a good note, he's 4 for 4. That's batting 1,000 in a game.
Yeah.
No, they're already home runs
And
too.
I assume I do not know the personality of Mike Cameron. I assume we're up by 10. Let me swing at it again. I'm just gonna swing at it again. Why
And
not?
so
And if I'm not mistaken, Zach, this would take him from like in the pack to being like the Highlander.
the number one,
to
the
be
only
the
five.
only person to hit 5 home runs in a single
Yeah.
MLB game. It would. And, why wouldn't it fucking happen on a Thursday night in Chicago? Right?
Yeah.
His 5th plate appearance. So I can't find the full game. You guys know this, right? I can tell you, though, because I watched this game with my own eyes. I watched this game as it happened live. When I heard Mike Cameron's, I was listening to the radio. Mike Cameron has three home runs. I thought, well, that's pretty incredible. This must be a blowout game. I love to see offense. So we had Fox Sports Net at the time, which is now Root Sports, Mariner-owned cable broadcast channel. And I started watching it. It was a Thursday night. I had to go to school the next day, but I thought, oh, it was even in Chicago, so it was like a not quite bedtime. I could watch it before, time to go to bed.
This is 2001, so you are.
What is the time?
in
It's 2002.
5th grade.
It's
Oh no,
2002.
so you're,
I'm in
you're
6th grade.
your first year of middle school. So
And
you
it's
have to
in
be.
Chicago.
You got to
so-
be up
You're a young
earlier
man
for school.
at this point.
Yeah, it's whatever though.
And this is
Baseball
roughly,
comes first. Baseball
so
and wrestling come first, then my sleep.
Which at bat would this have been?
This is his 5th at bat.
5th at bat, but what inning is this at bat occurring in?
This is give me 1 second here. Fuck, I didn't write it down. But it was
So-
in between. It was in between.
It was something. It's got to be probably the 8th or the 9th inning, probably.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
Let me
Okay.
go through my
I
notes here.
assume we'd know something really, really special.
So a
happened.
new pitcher, Mike Porzio, has come in to relieve Jim Park of his bleeding, and I can't tell you what the count was at the bat, but I know that it was only 3 pitches long. And the 3rd pitch, Mike hit. He had to take his base. He got hit by a pitch.
Wow.
That's what I meant to say in that sentence. On the 3rd pitch, it hit Mike, and he took his base. He was hit by a pitch. He is now 4 for 4, still, but with a now being walked.
He'll never get that pitch.
Now, Zach, let's do a little crime scene investigation. Is what I'm going to call this.
This is
here.
my next note here. Yes.
Okay, so I'm
What?
sorry that I keep like
No. This is a great segue.
kind of cutting you off.
This
at
is
the
a
at the
great
pass.
This is a great idea. Yes.
Because, well, as a sports fan and a bit of a, I don't know, I'm not a great conspiratorial thinker, but
I'm glad you're on the wavelength, though.
this man could have his moment in the history books. He could be the only one with number 5. So he would no longer be in a pack of 14 gentlemen all at number
So what
1
do
in their
you do
names.
as an opposing pitcher to that?
You just got put in the game. You've seen your 2 other comrades of
You've
the
just
bullpen
spoken
Are you
with
trying
your
to
get
manager.
prove
lit
yourself?
up by this
Yeah.
man.
You've just spoken with your manager as well. Like
just spoken with
you
your
got
manager.
marching orders as you left that dugout.
Of what?
As the manager, well, he talks to you, and then the manager goes out onto the mound, and he talks with the pitcher there, and he says, "Hey, man, we're gonna stop the bleeding for you tonight. We're bringing you in. We're bringing in this guy, who's already previously gotten his instructions in the dugout, where the camera really isn't.
Yeah.
They don't focus on it very often." My conspiratorial mind would be that Chicago's manager had instructed, like,
Do not
pitcher,
let him
like,
get another home run. and
don't
get-
give him the possibility
Yeah.
of giving the home run. Throw a couple balls
Do you
and then
think-
go
do
at
you
him with the
think
ball.
he did that on home run 2 though, and didn't have to re-express it? Like, do not let Mike Cameron score again on you. And
But then
once he
Jim
did
Park
on the-
just kept letting it happen. He was like, the next at bat, he's like, all right, I'm not gonna let him hit a home run.
And then
Fuck!
after 2 more home runs,
I guarantee you
nobody
that
could
was
say
the
word.
mindset for 4 home runs, Brian. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
No one's like, "Hey, do you want me to do soft and slow right down the middle?"
What you want, Mike? What you
know.
want,
Yeah.
Mike?
This isn't kickball.
I got you, buddy.
I just imagine if you make a movie out of this night, you have the scene where the coach is mad, and you
He
can
does
play,
he looks, he points at Mike Cameron, does the neck slit thing.
like, and looks at his pitcher and goes, "I'm trading you. God forbid, I'm trading you to the goddamn like Pelicans or something." Some
The New Orleans
double A.
Pelicans. You gotta play base. You gotta
You're gonna play baseball for basketball team. So I too thought, wow,
Yeah.
one of the unwritten rules
Awfully
of baseball.
convenient.
One of the awfully
So the
convenient
pitcher beans him. He comes in.
third pitch at bat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
But what if Mike Cameron had one more plate appearance? What would happen then?
Oh, you're already late in
number
the
6.
game, but
Roughly 8th or 9th inning.
Oh.
So let's talk about really quick what you've already brought up: unwritten rules.
Mm-hmm.
Pitchers are part of a fraternity.
Okay.
When you insult one, you insult everybody. When you insult your team, you insult everybody. When you insult somebody on the team, you insult everybody. This is a picture of, I think, Jed Lowry getting hit by a pitch. This is a picture of Jose Batista flamboyantly throwing a baseball bat after he had hit a game-winning home run. And this is the outcome of it.
There's rules about what Jose Bautista did.
So
because
this
of
is
that.
the unwritten rules. Don't be an asshole. That's kind of the thing.
Don't be
be an
cool.
asshole. That's what everybody interpreted it as, but it's don't be an
That's
asshole.
what I always
If you're
interpret
up
it as.
by 15 runs
Mm-hmm.
or so, why are you swinging for a home run? What's the use?
For records.
If you have a clutch home run, enjoy it. Don't be an asshole. Jose Batista. Okay, you don't have to show it, flaunt it in the face. You won. Good for you. Move on. Act like you've been there. That's the old white man narrative. They didn't expect
Hey, man, if
people
you've
from
already
South
thro-
America to get into the
If
game.
you've already thrown 8 perfect innings, why show off and do a 9th?
If you're
Might
going
as well walk a guy.
if you're going to slide into a plate and you know you're already out, don't put your spikes up. Don't be an asshole. Yeah, don't intentionally throw at someone's head. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
If you're gonna throw at somebody for the sake of putting them on base, don't make it their head. That's personal. And if you're winning by a lot, and you are one ball away from being walked with no strikes, if it's 3-0, don't swing at the pitch. Because as we talked about, what strikes and balls are, you get a 4th ball, you're on base. If you have a 3-0 count, that means you have 2 strikes to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Don't swing on a 3-0 count when you're up by a lot of runs. It's an asshole move. So if you're up by 1,000,000 runs, don't swing at it, right?
Play easy.
So this is his 5th hit. This is his 5th time with a real attempt. This is number 5. So Mike Cameron's 6th plate appearance, and 6th plate appearance in a Major League Baseball game is a fantastic feat in itself.
You're only guaranteed 3.
He
Yeah,
had
he's
already
doubled it.
he already achieved greatness. He saw one pitch, it wasn't all that good. It was called a ball. Great pass up. He waits on the second, also trash, another ball. 2 strikes, or 2 balls, 1 strike. 3rd pitch, it's a ball. Oh shit. Damn.
3-1 count.
Now you're faced with a hard situation. Do you do the flashy thing and swing hard on the fence in history? So on the next pitch, Mike swung. Oh, and he swung pretty hard. He may have found the sweet spot. You know, one of those Ken Griffey-esque, effortless. Just found the bat, the ball hit the barrel of the bat at the sweetest spot where you didn't have to put any muscle into it at all. It's a swing that with ease multiplies distance that a ball can go versus what you have to put might into. It's something that cannot be measured by anything, but just you did it. You found it. That ball sailed all the way to right field. Jeff Lafer is back on the warning track, but anyone who has ever had their heart broken knows when the right fielder has found the ball, and it's going to stay in the park. So he is feet away from the warning track. He's on the warning track.
Slows to a trot.
Feet away from the wall, and catches it. Had it all the way. So Mike Cameron will remain on a wide throne of a player that has achieved 4 home runs in a single game in the major leagues. And here's a quote from Mike Cameron right after the game, okay? I tried to go for it because I don't think the guys would have been happy if I didn't try, Mike Cameron said at the time. I hit it well enough, but not high enough to go over the fence. Right fielder Jeff Leiter made a nice play out there. I really wanted to make it happen, but I didn't want to swing at that 3-0 pitch. It was a 3-0 pitch. I messed up on that because I didn't want to make my team look bad. But I
You
think
didn't
if
want to be an asshole.
I think if I
Yeah.
did swing at it, it would have been gone. I just know it. So a man conflicted with the idea of his personal greatness and his team reputation. He just came off this perfect season, 116 wins with the greatest team to exist in the modern era. On one hand, he's coming off of that season, but then on the other hand, you have your own personal legacy. So, reflecting on the big day, only 18 players now have hit 4 home runs in a single game. Only one of them has hit those 4 in the first 5 innings. That'd be Matt Cameron. Entering that game on May 2nd, no one claimed that hill since September 7th, 1993. Almost 10 years, no one had even came close to it. But that he would only sit on top of that throne as a Mariner would for 21 days before Sean Green of the Los Angeles Dodgers also accomplished it against the Milwaukee Brewers in a 16-3 blowout. So it's not a flashy title, but people recognize it with doesn't even have a flashy name either. Just 4 home runs in a single game. It's not called perfect.
It's not a sombrero.
It's
type.
not a sombrero. It's not a golden burrito or anything like that. But looking at this raw data of what these 18 players have accomplished, and especially the work of Mike Cameron, you can't help but think it is one of the most special achievements in a game. In a sport where a perfect game, the achievement stunning a team with no movement whatsoever is celebrated by 21 players. Or even an offensive feat of getting a base by a single, double, triple, and home run, aka the cycle, has been done 336 times in the history of the game. But 4 home runs in a single game, just 18 players. What a hill. So, after this game, there was a whole season ahead. I mean, it was only May. So, the team ended 3rd in the AL West with a 93-69 score, or standings, which is insane. I mean, it's great. I mean, if the Mariners did that this year, that'd be playoffs instantly. Mike Cameron put up an average of 239 with 130 hits, 84 runs, and 25 RBIs over the course of 158 games. We're only missing 3 games in the whole season.
It's quite a marathon man effort there.
The most of any player of any of the starters of the team.
Yeah.
Even Ichiro, if you can believe that, he didn't play 158 games.
He took days off.
Also, meaning he got 16% of his home runs in that one night.
Yep.
Pretty good. Cameron would play one more full season with the Mariners and then bounce around several teams to wrap up his career in 2011 with the then monikered Florida Marlins, but they're now the Miami Marlins. Mike Cameron ended his career with an even 1,700 hits.
Wow.
Almost halfway to Mr. 3000. 278.
Not quite Bernie Mac.
278 home runs, 297 stolen bases, 968 RBIs, 1,064 runs on a batting average of 249, almost perfectly perfect. He ended his career with a 47.7 WRC, which I had written WAR on here, not WAR, which ranks him at the top 250 for all-time position players. And his 20th member, he's the 20th member of the 250 Club, and he is also a proud member of the current Mariner community. He's been working in the box. Well, I guess he's over now, but he's on Twitter community, always talking up the Mariners.
Did he finish his career with the Mariners?
He did
No.
not. Finished it with the Florida Marlins.
Ah.
He's
He was quite a journeyman.
yeah.
Okay.
He'll make appearances at Mariner events constantly, talks about the club when Mariners have good things going on. He's always retweeting. He's always boasting how he even, on one of his last days working for Root Sports, he called up that Wilson that just had that walk to steal and called him up and said, hey, good luck out there in right field. You're going to do great, and boosted the kid's ego. You know, the kid looked up to Mike Cameron as in his younger days. Right now, he has a son, Daz Cameron, plays for the Detroit Tigers, the Motor City Kitties. Recently, he robbed a hitter of a home run, just like his dad did in his long career. When Mike Cameron hit his 4 home runs, he had already accomplished a Gold Glove, won 116 games in a single season, and was ranked 6th best rookie in his qualifying season. After the game, he was asked about this accomplishment, and he said, I've had an asterisk by my name as the guy traded for Ken Griffey Jr. Now maybe I'll have another asterisk. An accomplishment in his own, but an even wilder one when you're swinging behind someone's shadow. So, that's the last slide. Any questions, guys?
Nah. Just thanks, Mike Cameron.
Thanks, Mike.
There's been a lot of long desert of things that happened after 2001 for the Seattle Mariners organization.
Long, long, long road.
You can count like the amount of times where you really felt like great as a Mariners fan on one hand, and this is one of those things.
Yep. This is when it felt good to be from Seattle.
You got Ichiro's single season hits record,
Yep.
which was 2004 if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that, yeah.
You've got Felix's perfect game,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then Iwakuma's
No hit. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
are the ones that I personally like remember as like moments of like great pride as a Seattle Mariners
Absolutely.
fan since 2001.
These are achievements. These are all achievements. Unfortunately, it was not in Seattle. It was a Thursday night in Chicago. But Mike Cameron still representing our team and got to accomplish something very immaculate.
Yeah.
Only happened 18 times.
And I think there's you talk about like how he's still involved in Seattle, and I think there is, even though we are a true bad news Bears city,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when it comes to sports, there is like a certain magic about it. Like we
Yep.
get behind our guys when they produce for us. We are, you look at that picture that you have on the screen right
Oh, yeah.
now of Safeco Field in 2002.
Yeah, but
unfortunately, none of
99.9.
none of those people, yeah,
Everyone loves it.
none of those people really know that like they're not going to see a postseason playoff game for at the time of this recording at least 20 years.
Yeah.
At
But
this
look how
point in
many of
time.
them there are.
Absolutely. Look how many. Like that is jam packed. This is not a sight that you see
No.
very often at a Mariners game.
Yeah.
The only time you really see this is usually not during an accomplishment, the game after an
Yeah.
accomplishment.
Yeah.
You see something like this.
People were engaged then. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
116 had to happen, and people want to go see the next season and see somebody shine
Yep.
in that post-Griffey world that we kind of had to live in Seattle.
Yeah. What felt like the floor falling out from underneath us. Griffey
Yeah.
leaves. A-Rod leaves. Who are we left with? John Olerud, Brett Boone. I can name them all, though. Mike Cameron.
A bunch of names.
Edgar
but-
Martinez.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Anchor's there, yeah.
But
Mike Cameron.
here you have somebody who, by all reasons, has big shoes to fill.
Yep.
And not only fills them, but makes them their own.
Yep.
And then quietly goes off in the night.
Yep.
Sort of a deal as...
An old desperado came into town.
He was too good to be a superstar. If Mike Cameron had stayed with the Mariners,
Man, what a world that would be.
in that sort of way where maybe good seasons may be bad, but when you had to prove yourself and you had big shadow, like, you know, you're in the shadow of somebody else, you're going to try that much harder to one up
Absolutely.
to get people to love you.
And,
And sometimes you show up and you swing at your fifth at
Yeah.
bat. You
Yep.
know, why not? Like, you're there, you're here to prove yourself.
you're there to be the one.
You're against the you know,
I think-
politeness of the game at that point. Like,
And like Mike Cameron is something of like to still be involved with Seattle and still sort of be in the area.
Yeah.
To like come back and call games with the team and everything like that. Like Mike Cameron was like in Seattle before Seattle was a destination.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is the time, and it's this weird effect where we do seemingly like attract and keep guys that are millionaires. Like, these are professional athletes. By the time they're hanging it up in their 30s or at the earliest 40s, still in the prime of their lives, they could live literally anywhere in the world
Yeah.
that they want. But they still somehow choose to settle down here.
Isn't that wild?
Which is crazy considering, like, this is, like, pre-2010s Seattle.
Yeah.
Where, like, we had Microsoft. Sure, Starbucks
Before
had bursted.
Amazon boom, though.
But, yeah, like, this isn't when, like, we were the hottest real estate market in the nation.
Yeah.
where it's everyone's clamoring to live in this area.
Yeah.
And I think it is just because that kind of special bond that, like, when you kind of produce for us, like, you can give us something to be hopeful about up here, all the way tucked away in the Northwest, where
Yeah.
all of our teams usually have the longest traveling schedule out of any major sport. Very rarely do we have a close by opponent in which we face. Our teams usually clock the most miles in the air, and any given season, whether that be baseball, whether that be hockey, whether that be football,
Yeah.
any of that. Like, it's a grueling schedule. You live in a place where there's 2 seasons.
Yeah.
There's sun
And
for
there's no
2.5
sun.
months,
And then there's what?
and then there's the gray. And it kind of rains sometimes during the gray.
and the sun.
Yeah, there's the sun, and, like, maybe it is because he's a baseball player, so he got to experience just how wonderful summers are in the Pacific Northwest.
I
But-
mean, ask Sean Kemp and Gary Payton. They're always up here too.
Absolutely, like I
So,
said,
like,
there's something about this area, like, and not Mike Cameron,
It's a piece
not
of
from
people's
the
heart.
area.
Yeah.
Gary Payton from the Bay Area. Sean Kemp,
Yeah.
not from Seattle.
Yeah.
Like, there are very few athletes who are from this area who become sports stars and stick around.
Yep. There's something here that keeps people around. But yeah, so that's my little presentation on Mike Cameron's 4 home run night. I hope it surprised you both, and I hope it was very informative.
It did. It was not what I expected when I had originally guessed Kaminsky Park.
Nice.
There's a lot of things that have happened at that stadium. This being one of them.
Yep.
Not the one I thought we were going to talk about. But
We'll save that for another time then.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very good. Great little reminder. Mike Cameron. I think about him a lot while playing the show because
Yeah.
I have gotten that 5th home run playing the show before.
Bastard,
Yeah,
man.
we were.
And so that's the only reason I was kind of able to cut you off at the pass throughout this is because I,
had
got
to look up
got
the-
curious and
yeah.
like Googled it, like what's the record for most home
Yeah.
runs in a single game, and I saw, oh yeah, and I knew Mike Cameron had done it.
Yeah.
And so I looked it up and saw that, it's that field of 18 guys, all with the asterisk at number 1.
Yeah, at number 1. And I was, doing my research. I had remembered that it was. I wanted to make sure that it was only 4, that there had never been anybody else that
Yeah.
climbed that mountain or achieved that, and taken it away from the 18 men that have.
Yeah, and I mean,
Come so close.
But like I said, my conspiracy hat's on. I think
yeah.
I think he got robbed of it. He was hot. There's those unwritten rules in baseball, like you had said.
Yeah. Don't be an asshole, okay?
Pitchers protect their own. And pitchers also protect the team as well. If one of
Yeah.
your players gets beaned on purpose, well, if you're the next guy out on the mound,
Yeah.
you're going to go take it out on one of their players.
That's its whole thing too, because there's a whole thing going with Manny Machado that's been like 5 to 6 years of him getting.
Ongoing beans.
And he's
back
been
and
with
forth.
3 different teams, and it's just constantly finding him. But then he's also asking for it a little bit here and there. The spikes thing. In playoff games, he'll go at a second baseman that's going to turn a double play with his spikes towards the player that's hopping off the base. It's all a thing. But then he gets thrown in his head, too, so it's like, who's the actual bastard man in
Say,
this one?
wasn't he involved in the leg break of a Dodgers player in like 2015 in the postseason?
No, that was the other. Wait, maybe of a Dodgers player.
Yeah,
No.
I remember there was a Dodgers second baseman who got fucked up real bad in because he took basically a slide right to the leg
It's
that he had
yeah.
planted on to like turn and throw the double.
I'll have to look at that, but yeah, he's been a part of some nasty ass
Yeah.
plays, dude. Some like, don't slow that one down because it makes me look worse and worse every single time, kind of thing. But also, pitchers were thrown at his head. There was a pitcher recently I saw that threw at his back and he missed it 3 times and then finally got him in the head. It's like, yeah, you were trying, buddy.
Like, wow.
Mask off.
Yeah,
does it-
mask off, baby.
When does an umpire just kind of go, for this man's safety, we're
Dude,
going to put him at
that's
first?
I mean that's its whole thing. Its whole own episode is the unwritten rules because the umpires will like once contact is made, then they'll issue a warning. Like you can hit a guy in the head one time and then you get a warning.
Oh.
Yeah.
You can be ejected. Like,
Yeah, second
Yeah.
time you're ejected, and then your coach is ejected, and then your coach is laid off for 5 days for letting
But
that
I mean,
happen.
you know, if you make it look like an accident, you're gonna get a warning.
Yeah, but they don't. The ones that are accidents, you can tell because they, as it releases from their hand, they instantly go to the oh no phase.
you can see the like, what do you call it? Like the recoil in their
Yeah,
bodies.
yeah.
You can see the tensing up of like, oh fuck.
Yeah. But in the ones that are not so much of an accident, you definitely see them just like walk it off, lick their hands, like, yeah, you got.
Usually
what you
turn their
needed.
back.
Yeah,
Fucking,
turn their
like,
back on
They're in
it.
Jeffrey Dahmer mode. Where
Yes,
they're just
yes,
like,
they
I'm acting as calm and cool as
Yeah,
possible.
they flipped a switch and they're like, yeah, I'm an assassin. I hit bitches in the head.
Doc Ellis has like a great story of the man who threw a no hitter on
Yeah.
acid, of like particularly in the 70s where it was like much more Wild West fair game.
Very much.
Of him just crushing Willie Mays in the face with a fastball, as retaliation. Like one of Baltimore's like pitchers had pegged one of the Pirates, and that was, it's like, all right, man, like blood for blood.
Blood for blood.
We're going after their best. We're going after Willie, and just like Willie Mays came up to bat and was just like
Boom.
brash, shouting, yelling, taunting Doc Ellis, and Doc Ellis is like, yeah, okay, well, here's an 80-miler right to the fucking nose, dude.
This is what you get, bud. Well, I guess we should probably wrap this up.
We should.
This
Yeah.
is probably we're
Clocking in.
yeah, we crashed over 3 hours 20 minutes of
3 hours?
we
Yeah.
started the episode about 30-40 minutes into it though. So
Long form discussion.
long form
Woof.
discussion.
Yeah.
So this was Mike Cameron, and I thank you boys for sitting tight and going through this presentation with me. There's some bolts tightened up. This is a bit of a lengthy boy, but we got there. We got to the end, and maybe I'll just cut down my slides a little bit more. We'll figure it out. Baseball's a heavy topic, so
No, it was a fun journey.
well, thanks. I'm gonna sneeze. Thanks for everybody for listening. If you're listening to this, I'm Zach.
I'm Ryan.
Tay Rob.